Oscar's beginning in Douluo. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 26. Bun Noodles Candied Whores. Xiao Cheng and the others dare to ask for Xiao Walqi's tip now. They saw with their own eyes just now that their manager just called out father in front of Pu Beichu, and then he was slapped by Xiao Wuji and passed out. After fainting from the shooting, he even pretended to fall asleep with them. Isn't this killing a chicken for us to see? They are still standing here sober. They are already thankful to Wuji. How dare they ask for a tip from him? Isn't this going into the toilet with a lantern, courting death? Their bodies trembled a little, and they leaned against the wall and shook their heads in horror. No, we don't want tips. Xiao Walqi nodded in satisfaction and said, well, since you don't want it, I'll find some of you next time. After saying these words, he left the Rose Hotel with Oscar and Xiao Wu, leaving only Xiao Cheng and the others with terrified faces, thinking to themselves, still looking for us, my tired dear father. Looks like it's time to leave the Rose Hotel and find an honest man as a home. Leo Wang, the dishwasher, didn't think like them. After all, he was assigned to work by the manager. When he entered the room, he stretched out his hands and dragged manager Wang and Park Beichu out one by one and said in his mouth, the old master who washed his hair just now is too good. Put them to sleep. No, I have to drag the two of them out, or it will delay my work too much. If I can't finish the work, can't I deduct my salary? Fortunately, manager Zhang passed out, otherwise he would definitely be let go as far as possible. Xiao Walqi, who left on the other side, walked on the street with Xiao Oscar and Xiao Wu. Xiao Walqi was thinking about something while walking in front, while Oscar and Xiao Wu, who were walking behind, were holding hands and cheerfully pointing here and there, like a young couple shopping in the street. Brother, look quickly, what are those big sisters doing at the door? Xiao Wu asked curiously, pointing to an extremely lively storefront. Oscar followed Xiao Wu's fingers to look over. He was stunned for a moment. This store is really special. I saw Xiao Wu pointing to the storefront plaque with 3 big characters of crispy tiger buns written on it. What the hell, bun shop? At the door of this store, there are a few big sisters selling big steamed buns at the door. There is a big steamer steaming at the door. The person who looks at the door says 2 words, that is hot. They hawk to these passers-by, big buns, big stuffed buns with big filling and thin skin. They are so delicious. While Xiao Wu understands, they are selling steamed stuffed buns. This steamed stuffed bun must be delicious. While Xiao Wu straightened up and said cleverly. Oscar nodded and said, yes, they sell big buns. Xiao Wu is really smart. Xiao Wu bounced around and learned to hug Oscar's arm and said coquettishly, big brother, Xiao Wu wants to eat steamed buns, and Xiao Wu also wants to eat delicious big buns. Big brother, can you go buy it for me? Oscar felt the warmth on his arms and was a little speechless. I went to buy buns at such a young age, isn't that bad? He had no choice but to pat Xiao Wu's head and said, Xiao Wu, let's not eat big steamed stuffed buns anymore. Big brother will make you noodles in clear soup when we get home. Xiao Wu raised her head to look at Oscar and said happily, good. Their cooking is definitely not as delicious as big brother's cooking. She happily ran to Xiao Walqi and shouted, Uncle Chubby, would you like to eat the clear soup noodles made by big brother? The clear soup noodles made by big brother are delicious. Xiao Walqi looked down at Xiao Wu in front of him and said, okay, I happen to be a little hungry too, so let's go back and eat the clear soup noodles he made together. After hearing Xiao Walqi's words, Oscar felt chills. You are so big and still want to eat the noodles I made. If you want to eat it, you will definitely not be able to pay for it. HMPH. If you want to eat my meal, you have to spend money. Xiao Wu, do you want to eat candied whores? Oscar said, pointing to a peddler who was selling candied whores not far away. After Xiao Wu's big eyes saw the candied whores, she couldn't help but licked her lips and said coquettishly, Xiao Wu wants to eat candied whores. Okay, I'll buy it for you right now. After saying that, Oscar walked up to Xiao Walqi, stretched out his small palm and said, Uncle Chubby, take it. What are you taking? Zhao Walqi asked with his eyes wide open. What else can I take? Take the money, Oscar said stiffly. As soon as Zhao Walqi heard that he was asked to take the money, he was so excited that he clutched the wallet at his waist for fear of being taken away by others. The wages he finally got, after going through his unrestrained spending, before have become depleted, and he will have to tighten his belt in the days to come. And now Oscar still wants him to pay. Does he ask for money? Killer big one, love it. He roared excitedly. What? Do you care about my money? What money do you want for me to buy candied whores? Don't you have money? Even if you don't have money, didn't Flender give you money? You don't care what he wants. What money do you want from me? Oscar was bewildered by the amount of words he spat out like a laser gun. He thought to himself, this Zhao Walqi's surname is really Zhao, and he has quite a talent for acting in sketches. God, this fat guy dares to yell at me. It's something you're not comfortable with yourself, and it's not my fault. Sure enough, after Zhao Wuji yelled, the passers-by on the street pointed at him and whispered, look at that man. He doesn't even pay for candied whores if the child wants to eat it. He's really discounting it. And at this moment, Oscar's eyes formed a layer of water mist very cooperatively, and he looked very pitiful as he was about to cry. My sister and I want to eat candied whores. We don't have any money ourselves. Woo woo Zhao Walqi. Fuck, this is a routine. How much you woo? I believe one of them, but who'll believe you if you woo twice? Dad, I want to eat candied whores too. A child who was about the same age as Oscar said to his father. His father gave Zhao Walqi a contemptuous look and said, go, Dad will take you to buy it. Dad is not as fastidious as someone. Later, Dad will buy you a bunch, and you can give some to that little brother and little sister. In the past, pissed someone off. Zhao Walqi's face turned red when he heard the discussion around him. He knew that he had committed public outrage, and now he really wanted to give himself a slap. If he didn't buy it, he wouldn't buy it. It's okay. Let's yell. This is good. I was despised by these people. Zhao Walqi hastily pulled out his purse and handed Oscar a silver soul coin and said with a smile, ha ha ha, Uncle Chubby was joking with you just now. Here, this is a silver soul coin. Go buy candied whores. Oscar quickly took his silver soul coin and said with a small face of disdain, Uncle Fat, you are too rich. You are not as rich as the four-eyed uncle. The four-eyed uncle bought me a new suit, but it cost a lot of money. Where are the 10,000 gold soul coins? Begging for a recommendation ticket. Puff. End of this chapter. Chapter 27. Why is the gap between uncles so big? Wait, what are you talking about? How can he still spend tens of thousands of gold soul coins to buy clothes for you with his buttoned up look? Impossible. He doesn't even have a single gold soul coin now. Zhao Wuji's questioning voice sounded. Oscar closed one eye and said with a crooked mouth, anyway, that's what the four-eyed uncle told me. Anyway, you are not as rich as the four-eyed uncle. Fat uncle, you are a rat. After finishing speaking, he jumped up and down and dragged Zhao Wu to buy candied whores, leaving only the angry Zhao Wuji. After a while, Oscar and Zhao Wu came back with bunches of candied whores and ate them with relish. Their mouths still made the sound of chewing hard candy, which made Zhao Walqi very greedy. Zhao Wu's eyes turned into a crescent moon dress with a smile and said with a small mouth, Big brother, this candied horse is really delicious. Zhao Wuji stared at his bull-like eyes and asked Oscar, Little Oscar, where is my candied horse? Candied horses are for children. Uncle Chubby, you are such a big one. It's not suitable to eat candied horse, and it seems ugly to say. Oscar tilted his head and said cutely. Zhao Wuji was speechless. Why can't I eat candied horse with such a big one? I have never eaten candied horse when I grow up. Zhao Wuji suddenly remembered that he gave Oscar a silver soul coin, and he bought 2 bunches of candied horse. The most expensive bunch of candied horse is only a few copper soul coins. How much money did he deduct from me? He stretched out his palm and said, take it. What? Oscar replied in a dazed manner. Money? What about the money left over from buying candied whores? Zhao Wuji suddenly felt murderous aura around him. He hurriedly looked around, only to see that the passers-by who pointed at him just now hadn't left. Their eyes revealed that the murderous aura gathered on him again. This made Zhao Wuji very embarrassed. He knew that his money would not come back. At this time, Oscar opened his palm to reveal a silver soul coin. Although Zhao Wuji was curious why his silver soul coin was still there, he didn't have time to think about it and laughed out loud. He thought that Oscar was going to hand over the money to him! Exclamation mark. But Oscar did not hand over the money in his hand, but put it in Zhao Wu's palm and said, "Zhao Wu, put this silver soul coin with you, so as not to save someone from asking for it back. Uncle Fat, this silver soul coin will be used as the meal payment for your 2 dinners today. Next time you eat dinner, remember to do it like today. Pay first and then eat." Zhao Wuji was blown out of 2 puffs of white air by his angry nose. "I'm training you so badly. It's fine if you don't pay, and let me give you money. Can you still be reasonable?" At this time, Zhao Wu, who was eating with gusto, also said, "Big brother, the uncle who just sold candied horse is so good. He actually gave Zhao Wu 2 bunches of candied horse for free. Why is he also an uncle? Why is there such a big gap between being an uncle?" Woolen cloth. PFFT. Zhao Wuji vomited 3 buckets of blood after hearing this. Let's go home and eat." Oscar grabbed Zhao Wu's little hand and walked towards Flender's shop. A moment later, Oscar brought a big bowl of hot flirty noodles to Zhao Wu, and Oscar said softly, "Zhao Wu, this is yours." "Well, thank you, big brother," Zhao Wu said playfully. On the other side, Zhao Wuji was staring at the mini bowl of noodles in front of him, speechless. He pointed to the small bowl and asked Oscar, "You said that I'm such a big fat uncle, why do I still have so few noodles?" Oscar replied solemnly, "Uncle Chubby, you paid too little for the meal today, so there is only so much for this noodle. I paid a whole silver soul coin, and you still say it's less? How much do you want, you little bastard?" Zhao Wuji roared. "Uncle Fatty, please remove the word rabbit. The rabbit is so cute. Why do you want to curse people with the word rabbit? What's more, since you paid the money, you can't go back and ask for it. If you don't want to eat noodles, it's okay. There's still a pot of soup in the pot, and the soup doesn't cost money," Oscar said, pointing to the stove. "Huh, and soup. I like to drink soup with it." Zhao Wuji was delighted when he heard that there was soup. "We can't afford noodles, but soup doesn't cost money." He quickly swept away the noodles in the bowl, hurried to the stove, picked up the cauldron and drank. And Oscar at the dining table whispered to Zhao Wu, "Zhao Wu, you can eat it first, and eat it after the fat uncle leaves." Oh, Zhao Wu pouted her mouth and agreed. What Zhao Wuji ate was called fast, especially the soup. Gudang. Gudang. He drank it up in a few sips. Not only that, he also stuck out his tongue and licked the cauldron all over. Oscar thought, next time he has to pay more for a pot. Zhao Wuji looked back at Oscar and Zhao Wu, who were stunned, a little embarrassed. He scratched the back of his head with his big hand and said, "Hey, little Oscar, you are so delicious. I feel energetic after eating." Oscar thought contemptuously, "You are not energetic, otherwise you would not be able to find 4 waiters in the Rose Hotel. Why don't you guys eat it? Eat it." Zhao Wuji said, staring at the big bowl of noodles in front of them. "Uncle Chubby, we both don't feel hungry after watching you eat," Oscar said with a slight trembling of his mouth. "Then since you're not hungry, then I'll eat it all." Zhao Wuji grabbed their bowls and started to eat them in big mouthfuls. Looking at Zhao Wuji's eagerness to eat now, Oscar looked too much like Brother Beiji from Journey to the West. But who can blame this? That's why he cooks so deliciously. In fact, Oscar and the others are really not hungry. Both of them have been tired all day. They are really hungry. Their little stomachs have been growling with hunger, but now they have to wait for Zhao Wuji to leave, and then eat food that can increase soul power to play a more effective role. Good training effect. And Oscar already knew that Zhao Wuji had a big appetite. The noodles he ordered were actually prepared for him in order for him to finish eating and leave quickly. Sure enough, after eating, Zhao Wuji patted his stomach and said, "Hi, I'm so full." "Well, I'm full and I have something to do in the college, so I'll leave first. If you are hungry, you can order some more noodles yourself. I will come to you tomorrow morning. Oh, by the way, the person I beat up today is a young master. In order to avoid their revenge, you must not go out at night." After Zhao Wuji finished giving instructions, he strode away. Only Oscar and Zhao Wu looked at each other and laughed. Guru. At this moment, Xiao Wu's stomach growled, which made Xiao Wu blush slightly and lowered her head in embarrassment. Hey, Xiao Wu, you have to be patient. Big brother will be fine in a few minutes, Oscar said while touching Xiao Wu's lower abdomen. Xiao Wu agreed with a red face like a little apple, begging for a recommendation ticket. Don't force me to dress up as a woman. Thank you Mr. PNPNLIU for your award. Thanks to the background tribe for the reward. End of this chapter. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 28 Xiao WN-039's belly is big again. After a few minutes, Oscar sat on the chair profusely with sweat, and in front of him and Xiao Wu were 2 bowls of delicious Oscar brand flirting noodles. He and Xiao Wu were tired all day, and now they are really starving. If they don't eat anymore, they feel that they are going to starve to death. The 2 of them didn't care whether they were reserved or not, and they started to eat big mouthfuls with their bowls in their hands. Chislip the sounded. Of course, it was just the sound of Oscar sucking noodles by himself. As for Xiao Wu on the other side, she is such a cute girl. How could she eat noodles as embarrassingly as Oscar? Although Xiao Wu also ate big mouthfuls, how could her cherry-like mouth be so big? At most, it's nothing more than stuffing a small carrot. And when she ate noodles, she just put the noodles in her mouth and ate them. She didn't realize the soul of eating noodles at all, so she slept and ate. Oscar on the side also noticed the sound of eating noodles by himself, which made him feel a little embarrassed. This feeling is like going to a noodle shop to eat noodles. No one in the room makes this sound, but you are the only one who makes this sound. But if you don't eat like this, you still don't feel good, so he can only drive his companions to eat like this. Oscar did the same, and he turned his head to look at Xiao Wu who was eating his noodles. As expected, he saw the cute scene of Xiao Wu eating noodles, which made Oscar couldn't help laughing. Hey. Xiao Wu felt very strange when she heard Oscar's laughter. She thought to herself, big brother eats the noodles he made, how can he eat so happily? Seeing Xiao Wu, Oscar also turned his head and said to her seriously, Xiao Wu, you have no soul. If you eat noodles like this, you and big brother learn. You should sucking like this. Yes, that's it. Suck hard. Suck hard. A few minutes later, Oscar slumped on the chair and hiccuped. He felt so refreshed. Xiao Wu on the side also covered her mouth and let out a cute hiccup, which made her very embarrassed, and hurriedly covered her face, and dared not look at Oscar. Oscar closed his eyes, and felt his soul power. Although this meal of noodles, that could increase soul power did not raise him a level, it also improved his soul power a lot. He felt that according to this promotion speed, he would be promoted to level, as long as he ate 3 meals of his own cooking. This kind of feeling is really not too pleasant. Of course, it is also closely related to his washing dishes and exercising during the day. Although Xiao Waoqi's arranging for his 4-year-old to do the dishes is perverted, it has to be said that his perverted behavior is of great benefit to the improvement of Oscar's strength. Oscar thought to himself, Xiao Waoqi is the vice president of Shrek Academy, and the quality of teaching is indeed much better than others. If Xiao Wuji knew that Oscar praised him so much in his heart, he would definitely fly beautifully. He just paid his salary and went to the Rose Hotel to be unrestrained and unrestrained. It was an accident, and you came of your own accord. After Oscar felt that his soul power was greatly enhanced, he looked at Xiao Wu at the side again. Like him, Xiao Wu was born full of soul power. She became a 10th level soul warrior after awakening her martial soul, but this time, because it was the second time she ate Oscar's food, the effect was naturally not as good as the first time, so she didn't break through to level 11 this time. Oscar looked at Xiao Wu with a look of love, just when he saw Xiao Wu patted her slightly raised belly with her little hand and whispered softly, Xiao Wu's belly has been enlarged by Big Brother again. If it continues like this, will Xiao Wu turn into a chubby rabbit? Oscar stretched out his hand and pinched Xiao Wu's chubby face and said with a smile, hey, Xiao Wu, you are a chubby little rabbit. HMPH big brother, you are so annoying. You said Xiao Wu is a fat rabbit. Xiao Wu got angry big brother. You have to accept Xiao Wu's punishment. Xiao Wu said fiercely with a twist of her lips. Oscar hastily raised his hands in a grieved way to express his surrender and said, okay, I accept Xiao Wu's punishment. No matter what punishment Xiao Wu imposes on Big Brother will accept it frankly. After Xiao Wu listened to Oscar's words, her pink and tender face turned reddish. She playfully scratched her braids with her hands, looked at Oscar, and said with a smile, heh. Then Xiao Wu will punish Big Brother to sleep with Xiao Wu in his arms every day. Oh, that's fine. Oscar quickly replied with a very helpless appearance. Xiao Wu stuck out her tongue and said playfully, slightly. Then Big Brother, go wash the dishes quickly, and Xiao Wu will cover the quilt first. Big Brother, come quickly, Xiao Wu will warm your bed first. After Xiao Wu finished speaking, she bounced and ran towards the bedroom, leaving only Oscar who was washing the dishes with a face of reluctance. Oscar was really very reluctant. He could only use one song to release his very reluctant mood. Just this feel is more refreshing. Hey oh. Cool. Oscar stretched out his arms around Xiao Wu and lay on the bed because he wanted to sleep comfortably. He and Xiao Wu both changed into pajamas. Oscar originally thought that this would be very convincing, but now he realized that he was wrong and it was still a big mistake. He hates it so much now. He hated himself for being so small. Why is it so small? I want what is the use of this iron rod? Oscar couldn't fall asleep no matter what. He recalled all kinds of things that happened during the day in pain. He thought of the young master named Pu Beichu. He secretly overheard the conversation between Xiao Wuji and manager Wang. He also learned that Pu Beichu was the son of Pu Qianchu, the deputy director of the education department of Soto City, and the director of the Ministry of Education was Luo Tangji, the father of Luo Fuji, the captain of the Berek Academy team in the anime. Luo Tangji and Pu Qianchu have been suppressing Shrek Academy for these years because Shrek Academy's special recruitment of monsters has generated little benefit, and they have never handed over benefits to them. Just like every time the Soul Masters in the whole continent will not be given to Shrek Academy, otherwise Kinming will not regret it for life. Shrek Academy has also become worse and worse than before because of their suppression over the years, just like now that they don't even have operating funds, and they need Dean Flender to go outside to piece it together. This is enough to prove how lying they are. Groove. Fortunately, Shrek's dean and teachers are strong enough, otherwise they would definitely tear down the Shrek Academy. And today Xiao Wuji actually directly brought Pu Qianchu's son Pu Beichu into the factory. How could this Pu Qianchu give up so easily? Begging for a recommendation ticket. Kneel down. End of this chapter. Chapter 29. The Secret of Luo Tangji and Puchu. In the dark night, the streets of Soto City were brightly lit. Oscar and Xiao Wu had already fallen asleep sweetly. In this brightly lit night, the lights in the education office were still on. Passers-by gave their thumbs up and praised this place, thinking that the people in the education department are really hardworking. They are like this every day. They still don't get off work at such a late hour, and they are still working overtime in their own units. They are really a good education department of Berek Kingdom. Especially Luo Tangji and Pu Qianchu, the two chiefs. They have witnessed their body from skinny to tired like a pig. No, pigs are not as fat as them. The two of them worked hard day and night in the education department to personally review all the things in the education department, so they seldom left their posts. It was because of sitting for such a long time that they became so tired and fat. The Berek Kingdom has good leaders like them. Why worry that the college is not popular? Why worry that their children cannot become strong? And why worry that their kingdom cannot become more prosperous and powerful? Because of the support of so many people, Luo Tangji and Pu Qianchu held a pivotal position in the kingdom of Berek, and even those nobles also made friends with them one after another. Of course, the most important thing is that the two of them sent a lot of wealth to these so-called nobles, otherwise these nobles would not befriend them. Luo Tangji and Pu Qianchu are now in Suocho City. Even the city lord of Suocho City has given them 3 points. They can be said to be in full swing in the entire Suocho City, doing whatever they want, completely like to local emperors. But the two of them were not too presumptuous, because they still needed the support of those people outside, and they had to show them the appearance of working day and night, and forgetting to eat and sleep. For example, what the two of them are doing inside the house is not at all what those people outside think, working hard day and night, but it is quite different from what those people imagined. The two of them are enjoying a treatment that is times more sublime than what Zhao Walqi is enjoying today. In the brightly lit room of the Academic Affairs Office of Soto City, two chubby middle-aged men sat facing each other. They were dressed very coolly, with their upper body shirtless and their lower body wrapped in bath towels. Their figures were indeed unsightly. I understand, but I can't see through. Because you can only see a muscle like a big balloon with a big head on it. When you look at the front of the two of them, looking at them from the side, there is still a big balloon with a big head. These two things of unknown shape are really too fat, at least 300 or 400 catties. In fact, even if the two of them were not wrapped in that cloth, other people would not be able to see anything else. It was unnecessary for them to do this. The two of them are surrounded by some enchanting, youthful and beautiful girls. Some of these girls are on the top, and some are on the bottom. The division of labor is quite clear. Don't think too much. The two of them are actually soaking their feet. The one below is washing their feet, and the one above is feeding them delicious food. As for the treatment they enjoyed more than Zhao Walqi, their left hand was naturally placed on their lap, and their right hand naturally climbed up the mountain. The two of them were talking with their eyes closed, and Luo Tangji asked with concern, "Old man, Zhao Chu in your family should be 3 years old. I haven't seen him since he was born. Who does he look like? Like you or like siblings?" Park Hyeon-chu replied indifferently, "It's strange to say that Zhao Chu doesn't look like his mother, nor does he look like me. On the contrary, like my boss, he looks a little like you." Park Hyeon-chu asked casually, "Old chicken, Zhao Ji in your family should be 6 years old too. Did you take him to awaken his martial soul? What kind of martial soul did he awaken? Is it your sunflower martial soul?" Luo Tangji replied casually, "Well, I took him there, but what he awakened was not my sunflower martial soul. He awakened the same as my boss, and what he awakened was your golden spear martial soul." Park Hyeon-chu nodded his big head and said, "Yes. It's good that he has awakened his martial soul." Luo Tangji opened his narrow eyes like slits and said seriously, "Old man, let's go to Barrack City tomorrow. Although the bosses of our family and yours are not qualified, it's okay to let them play like this." "No way. Let's send them to the academy." "Old chicken. I think so too. They are both dead, and it's time to send them to the academy. Just like your boss, Luo Fiji, he didn't practice well at home, and he even opened a crispy tiger bun to sell buns. It's really maddening. It's gone." Park Hyeon-chu said angrily, slapping the table with anger. After Park Hyeon-chu finished speaking, Luo Tangji immediately quit. He also slapped the table and shouted, "How you still say my boss? You say your boss Poo bait you. If he opens a crispy tiger bun, it's fine old man, it's not so angry. He actually went to work as a waiter in that Rose Hotel. I'm really mad. Let's go to Barrack City tomorrow and send them to the academy so they can be honest." The two of them clicked and hit it off to confirm tomorrow's itinerary. At this moment, one of their servants ran into the room in a panic and shouted, "Master, da. It's bigger than you." "What's bigger? I'm so scared by this old man. I'm so devastated." Park Hyeon-chu scolded. Luo Tangji also said angrily, "Say what you have to say quickly. Let go of what you want to fart and get out of here after letting go. Don't disturb the old man's elegant mood. Ask weakly, don't you think it stinks?" The servant's legs trembled, and his mouth trembled even more. "You two elders, something is wrong. Master Poo was severely injured." "What? My son was beaten?" The two directors shouted in unison. "Master Park, how is he injured? Where is he now? Who beat him?" Luo Tangji asked with trembling hands. On the other hand, Park Hyeon-chu asked calmly, "Did he get beaten in the Rose Hotel?" "That's right, young Master Park was severely injured by Zhao Wuji, the vice president of Shrek Academy, in the Rose Hotel in the afternoon. Although young Master Park's life is not in danger, his lower body is already crippled." The servant preached hard. "Zhao Walqi. What? Your lower body is crippled?" Luo Tangji stood up excitedly and shouted. But the moment he stood up, He felt a little dizzy in his head and sat back quickly. Park Hyeon-chu quickly stood up and came to the servant and asked, "Why did you report to me now when you were beaten this afternoon? Where is my son now?" Because the people at the Rose Hotel said that others don't know the identity of the young master. Only Manager Zhang knows, but Manager Zhang was also beaten until he fell unconscious. Young Master Pu is currently recuperating at your house. The servant replied. Old chicken, you don't have to worry too much. It's not like we didn't experience this kind of thing when we were young. It's important to go and see my son first. Park Hyeon-chu walked up to Luo Tangji and patted his fat head comfortingly. He turned back and told his servants, "Go to Barrack City and ask the best old doctor to save my son. If they don't come, just kidnap him." Shrek. I want your academy to disappear from Douluo Dalu. Please vote. Thank you. 1 vote is love. 2 votes kick. After 3 votes, ahem. Ask for a reward. The author is shameless. End of this chapter. Chapter 30. Xiao Wu. Big brother combs my hair for me. The morning sun was exceptionally warm and peaceful. The rising of the sun revitalized the bustling Soto city, and the sun shone through the narrow windows into the cozy Flanders shop. In Flanders' small shop, Oscar and Xiao Wu were lying on the bed sweetly hugging each other and falling asleep. It's a pity that Oscar didn't have the sweet dream of yesterday, and he still woke up very early. He woke up early not because morning was the day's plan, but because Xiao Wu was coiling around his body like an octopus. I saw Xiao Wu's slender white leg was placed in the gap between Oscar's legs. For his future happiness, Oscar had to stare at Xiao Wu's beautiful leg with wide eyes. Oscar's mood is really touched now. What he is touched is that he has slept with Xiao Wu for 2 consecutive days. This is something that he could not even dream of doing in his previous life. He never thought that in this life, he could not only do it in his dream, but also in reality. Although he was very moved, his body is very afraid to move now. One reason is because he is afraid that he will not be able to give Xiao Wu a happy life in the future, and the other is because he is afraid of punishing Xiao Wu. He has maintained this stiff posture for several hours. He feels that his body is going to be numb, and if he continues like this, he will definitely not be able to hold on until Xiao Wu wakes up. If he wakes up Xiao Wu, he will be very distressed. At this moment, Xiao Wu's leg moved suddenly, which shocked Oscar. He stretched out his hand reflexively to block him, but Xiao Wu's leg was pressing on him, and he could block it. Woolen cloth. But fortunately, Xiao Wu's leg didn't make a violent blow, but only rubbed against his thigh. At this time Xiao Wu had already woken up. Her long hair was scattered, and she opened her mouth slightly and stretched out cutely. She rubbed her blurry eyes, then looked up at Oscar. Xiao Wu, wake up. Good morning. Oscar said softly. Xiao Wu smiled sweetly. Hehe, good morning big brother. At this moment, Xiao Wu reached out to touch Oscar's face and asked curiously, brother, why do you have such heavy dark circles? Did you not sleep well last night? No. I slept very well and slept soundly. Didn't you hear my snoring? Snoring. Oscar learned to snore. Old. The eye is a little wet, Xiao Wu said. Oscar thought in horror, how can this work? Is my happy life coming to an end in just 2 days? Am I playing off myself? Oscar hurriedly sat up on the bed, bouncing around, expressing that he was very energetic and said, big brother really didn't lie to Xiao Wu, let alone how energetic I'm now. Look, I can do 1 push-ups. Xiao Wu covered her little mouth and said with a smart smile, hee brother, let's do push-ups together later. Now Xiao Wu's stomach is hungry. Okay. Big brother is going to make you breakfast. What does Xiao Wu want to eat? Oscar said looking at Xiao Wu's smooth belly. Well by the way, Xiao Wu wants to eat cucumbers. Xiao Wu wants to eat long and big cucumbers with flowers and thorns. Xiao Wu said, poking her chubby little face. Oscar was very helpless when he heard Xiao Wu describe cucumber like this. He asked, hey Xiao Wu, can you tell big brother, where did you learn the adjective that your flower is thorny, long, and big? Xiao Wu adjusted the pajamas she was wearing and said, when we came back last night, the uncle on the street shouted like that. There is also the line of the big sister selling crispy tiger buns. Xiaowu also memorized them. That's what the big sister called them. They are white, big, juicy, and delicious buns. Xiaowu also stood up for herself. The small breasts learned to sell. Oscar suddenly felt a group of cute black soul beasts flying over his head. Xiaowu licked her mouth and continued, "Big brother, Xiaowu still wants to eat white, big, juicy, and delicious buns, and Xiaowu wants to eat too." Oscar thought, "I also want to eat, but unfortunately what I want to eat is not mature yet." Yeah. Xiaowu wants to eat. Big brother will make it for you. Wait for me for a while. Oscar went to the kitchen to cook in his pajamas. He speeded up. He had to finish the steamed stuffed bun before Xiaowu came here, and he and Xiaowu ate all of them. He directly released the dragon patterned martial soul to make the dragon patterned pot slightly larger. After all, the dragon patterned pot is a frying pan, and if you want to use it to steam buns, you must fill it with water to ensure that the buns can be cooked. Xiaowu also changed her clothes at this time, but her hair was still scattered, and the long hair ran across her fragrant shoulders all the way to her buttocks. As for the reason why her long black hair was scattered, it was all because of Oscar. Of course it wasn't, because he pulled Xiaowu's braid and messed it up for her. It was because Xiaowu asked Oscar to wash her hair last night before the two of them went to bed. Because of this, she couldn't comb Xiaowu's long hair into a scorpion braid, so she had no choice but to change her clothes and come out. She just washed her little face, and now the hair on the side is a little wet, and she looks very cute. She sat on the chair and stared at Oscar, who was concentrating on making breakfast with her small face. Her eyes were full of tenderness when she looked at Oscar. She took out the comb left by her mother, and the corners of her eyes were a little wet. She thought that her mother combed her hair for her in the past, but, Mom, you told Xiaowu that a woman's hair can only be combed by one man in her life, so Xiaowu must find someone she loves to comb her hair for. And now, Xiaowu has found someone who can comb her hair. Brother, can you help Xiaowu comb her hair? Xiaowu said to Oscar, who was walking towards her. Oscar was walking towards Xiaowu with the buns in his hands. He nodded and smiled softly after hearing Xiaowu's words. Okay. After a while. Hahaha, big brother, you are so stupid. You should do this first, then that. No, you should tie the knot first. Oscar looked at Xiaowu's long hair and his head was about to explode. As a man in his 20s, he has never even touched a girl's hair a few times, let alone braided it. And it's still such a long scorpion braid. If he hadn't watched Douluo Dalu anime, he wouldn't have known that there are such complicated braids in the world. Where is this braid? This is like a particularly difficult underwear. He is very embarrassed now, and he is always clumsy. On the other hand, Xiaowu enjoyed this state very much. She looked sweetly at the clumsy Oscar and said, "Big brother, come on. From now on, Xiaowu's hair will be handed over to you." What? Oscar is a very ruthless animation producer now. Why, he just combs his hair with a comb twice and it's over. Can he be less perfunctory? Can he be more detailed? It's okay to act in 2 episodes or 3 episodes. Anyway, I have a membership and don't have to wait a week. Please recommend a ticket. End of this chapter. Chapter 31. Xiaowu rewards Oscar 1. Xiang. After half an hour of hard work, Oscar finally combed Xiaowu's braid, and now he feels more tired from braiding than cooking. But he feels that this is more enjoyable than cooking. What a blessing it is to comb the hair of the person he likes. Phew, I finally combed it. Brother Xiaowu combed a girl's hair for the first time, so. Oscar scratched the back of his head in embarrassment and said. Xiaowu blushed like a red apple. She looked up at Oscar and said, "Big brother, this is also the first time Xiaowu let a boy comb his hair. This comb was left to me by my mother. My mother and Xiaowu said that a girl's hair can only be combed by a boy in her life. When you identify him, give him this comb. Xiaowu will give it to Big brother today. Big brother will comb Xiaowu's hair for the rest of his life, okay?" At this moment, Xiaowu's face was as red as fire, but she didn't look away shyly, but looked at Oscar with anticipation. "Big brother, of course I have to comb Xiaowu's hair for the rest of my life, because after being punished by you, Big brother slept with his arms around you." Oscar stretched out his arms to hold Xiaowu tightly in his arms and said softly, Xiao stood on tiptoe and kissed Oscar's face superficially, then shyly buried herself in Oscar's arms and said, "Millimeters Xiao will punish Big Brother to stay with Xiao for the rest of his life. Xiao, let's eat quickly. Big Brother is almost hungry." Oscar patted Xiao's back and said. Xiao also patted her stomach and said, "Yes. Xiao's stomach is also hungry." Oscar picked up the steamed stuffed bun and went to heat it up again. They had delayed for too long and the steamed stuffed bun became cold, so how could Oscar be willing to let Xiao eat the cold steamed stuffed bun? A few minutes later, Oscar came to the dining table again with buns, and he mixed a plate of cucumber pickles. Of course, the pickles were just ordinary pickles, but the buns were big Oscar brand buns that could increase soul power. Oscar gave Xiao a big bun and said, "Xiao, eat slowly, be careful of burning." Xiao was already drooling greedily when she saw the big bun. She licked the corner of her mouth, stretched out her little hand, grabbed the big bun, and took a bite. Just like what Oscar said, the steamed stuffed bun has just come out of the pan, so of course it is very hot. If she grabs it with her hands and takes a bite, she will definitely get burned. Sure enough, after she took a bite, the soup flowed down the corner of her mouth. She hurriedly put the buns in the bowl, wiped her small mouth with her hand and shouted, "How it's so hot. It's so hot. It's so fragrant." Xiao, are you okay? Did you get burned? Oscar asked with concern. Xiao quickly replied, "Big Brother, Xiao is fine. Xiao won't be burned by the meat bun. Watch Xiao destroy it." Xiao opened her cherry mouth and began to eat with relish. "Brother, the big buns you made are really delicious. They are white, big, juicy, delicious, and delicious." Oscar was completely speechless. Xiao was hopeless. She had already been successfully brainwashed by the lines of the crispy tiger bag, and it was really difficult to get her to forget these adjectives. Oscar also has to admire now, the person who opened this crispy tiger bun store is definitely a talent. He can not only attract people, but also use words to make people remember the characteristics of their store. Even if the business is not hot, it will be difficult. Oscar also ate the big steamed stuffed bun with relish, but he suddenly thought that Xiao didn't break through to level 11 after eating the food he cooked last night, but he will definitely break through this morning. Because he is now a 13th level soul master, if he wants to break through the 14th level, he still needs to eat 3 or 4 more meals made by him, and Xiao is now innately full of soul power, that is, a 10th level soul master. Naturally, she doesn't need so many soul coins for her breakthrough. 2 meals are enough. So now after Xiao is full, her soul power level will naturally be raised to 11th level, and because she is a 10-year-old soul beast, she will directly go to the 11th level when her level reaches the 11th level. Get a soul ring, and get a soul skill. Because of this, he stopped eating after eating a steamed stuffed bun. He wanted to protect Xiao. What if that unlucky guy suddenly came in during this period of time? Fortunately, he closed the doors and windows last night. If anyone comes, only Flender and Xiaowuji can come in. Of course, because of Xiao, they will not come in suddenly like yesterday. Sure enough, just as Oscar thought, after Xiao ate 2 steamed buns, she suddenly felt that her spirit power had increased by 1 level, reaching level 11. She hastily closed her eyes to feel her soul ring and soul skills. A moment later, Xiao opened her eyes and opened her arms and ran towards Oscar. He gave Oscar a big hug and said excitedly, "Thank you, Big Brother. Xiao has now become an 11th level battle spirit master. Congratulations, Xiao. How should Xiao reward me, Big Brother?" Oscar said smugly. "Well, Xiao will reward Big Brother with a sweet." Xiao stood on tiptoe and kissed Oscar with her cherry-like mouth. This time it was still superficial, but the place of the kiss was different. Oscar felt the moisture on his lips and couldn't help licking it. Now his heart is thumping. He has been a human being for 2 lifetimes, and he finally felt this feeling. Although Xiao is still young now, isn't he also very young? He controlled, and finally he couldn't control it. He stretched out his arms to hug Xiao, wanting to feel this wet feeling again, but what greeted him was not a wet feeling, but a soft feeling. I saw a big bun stuffed into his mouth by Xiaowu, but Xiaowu laughed and said, brother, you are so bad. You still want to bully Xiaowu? Uncle Chubby is coming soon. It would be bad if he found out already. Oscar dejectedly took a bite of the big bun. The big bun, that was originally delicious, now tasted bitter in his mouth, and it looked really hard to swallow. Oscar said with a sigh, oh, this bun is not tasty at all. Big brother, eat well first, or it will be cold again, and Xiaowu will reward you in the evening. Xiaowu leaned her head on his shoulder and said softly with her arms around his arms. After Oscar heard these words, his drooping eyelids suddenly lifted up, and his eyes shone like golden eyes. He took a big bite of the steamed stuffed bun in his hand, and said in disbelief, huh? This steamed stuffed bun was obviously bitter just now. Why did it suddenly become sweet again? Emma, it's so delicious. This steamed stuffed bun is also too fragrant. This is made by that genius. This bun came out. HMPH, big brother stinky. You can trick Xiaowu. Xiaowu hummed with her mouth puffed out. Just then, there was a knock on the door. Dang. 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 Little Oscar, Xiaowu. I'm Uncle Chubby, open the door. Phew, caught up. This book has dropped from 78 to 92 on the new book list. Please vote for my little sister. Thanks to the author. End of this chapter. Chapter 32, leaving bags under the mouth. Let me do it. Xiaowu shout sounded, which made Oscar refreshed, because he still had 2 buns to eat. This steamed stuffed bun is not an ordinary steamed stuffed bun. It is an Oscar brand steamed stuffed bun he made that can increase the soul power. If Oscar opened the door to let Xiaowu in now, with the enthusiasm of Xiaowu for the food made by Oscar, he would definitely pick up the buns and make them shamelessly the first time he saw the buns. If this happens, then Xiaowu will definitely find out his secret, and it will be difficult to explain it at that time, and he can't say that he bought it at Suhubao. So he absolutely cannot let this happen. Oscar hurriedly picked up a bun and handed it to Xiaowu, saying, Xiaowu, eat another one. Ah, big brother, Xiaowu really can't eat anymore. Xiaowu shook her head and patted her belly. Seeing that Xiaowu didn't want to eat, Oscar hurriedly ate it in big mouthfuls, and he began to quickly destroy the package and wipe out the traces. But the buns he made were too big, and he is still so small now. No matter how much he eats, he can't make 2 bites of one. And Xiaowu, who was standing at the door, waited for a long time before the door opened, and knocked on the door again. Dang. 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 Open the door. Little Oscar, the sun is drying your ass. Haven't you woke up yet? Xiaowu slapped the door and shouted. Oscar was very anxious when he heard his knock on the door, so anxious that he almost choked. He quickly picked up the water glass and took a big sip. After drinking the water, Oscar continued to bite the steamed stuffed bun and said to Xiaowu, Xiaowu, you go open the door to deal with the fat uncle first. The big brother will be ready soon. And Xiaowu stood up and nodded in agreement. Xiaowu bounced to the door, but she didn't open the door immediately, but asked outside the door, who are you? Are you a big bad wolf? Xiaowu thought with a black face outside the door. Didn't what I said in detail enough? I say I'm a fat uncle. He also said that I'm a big bad wolf. Is the big bad wolf as tall and mighty as me? Xiaowu laughed and said outside the door, hey, I'm not a big bad wolf. I'm a fat uncle. Are you a little white rabbit? Ba ba ba. Are you Xiaowu? Oh, so it's Uncle Chubby. Okay, after Xiaowu finished speaking, she opened the door, and the person standing outside was indeed Xiaowu. However, the clothes Xiaowu wore today were indeed different from his previous ones. He did not reveal his strong muscles today, but wore a black cloak, completely covering up his strong figure. If it wasn't because he showed his big head, Xiaowu would have thought it was a big bad wolf, a big villain. Why did you take so long to open the door? It made me almost die of heat outside. Huh? Where's little Oscar? Xiaowu asked with his big hand flashing the wind, sticking out his tongue. When Xiaowu heard Xiaowu ask where Oscar was, he lowered his head and played with her 2 little hands at a loss, saying, big brother, he. She suddenly had an idea. Her big eyes flashed, and she pointed to the back and said, brother is thirsty. He is drinking water in the back. Thirsty? It just so happens that I'm so hot that I feel a little thirsty. I'm going to drink a glass of water too, Zhao Walqi said, licking his chapped lips. After he finished speaking, he was about to walk back with big strides. Zhao Wu saw how this could work. She quickly grabbed Zhao Wu's thigh and said, "Uncle Chubby, wait here. Zhao Wu will help you pick it up." Ha ha ha, how dare I bother Zhao Wu. Oscar had a good saying yesterday, telling me to do it myself and have enough food and clothing. So I'll do it myself, Zhao Wuji said with a smile. After he finished speaking, he continued to walk back with big strides. The moment he walked into the restaurant, he saw the scene where Oscar picked up the last bun and was about to bite into it. His eyes widened in an instant, pointing at Oscar and yelling, "Leave a bag under your mouth. Quickly let go of that bag. Let me do it." When Oscar saw Zhao Walqi walking in, his peach blossom eyes were staring like light bulbs, and he hurriedly put the buns into his mouth. But instead of opening his mouth to bite the bun, he stuck out his tongue and licked the bun around. And Zhao Wu, who came in following Zhao Walqi, saw Oscar's funny scene and laughed out loud. "Hey hey hey, big brother, you are so dirty." And Zhao Walqi's expression was even more stunned. He stretched out his big fan-like hand and gave Oscar a thumbs up. Oscar was also forced to do so. He had no choice but to do so. If he took a bite, what would Zhao Wuji do? If he gave him the remaining half at that time? If he doesn't give it to him, what should he do? If he grabs it? He had no choice but to take precautions and lick it all over first. This time he can't snatch it. And after he licked it around, he opened his mouth and took another bite because he was afraid that Zhao Walqi would say he was stuffed. Facts proved that he was doing the right thing. After seeing him eating buns, Zhao Wuji quickly ran to his side. Seeing that there were no buns on the dining table, he ran to the kitchen to look around. In the end, he found that there were none. So he came to the dining table and saw that there was less than a plate of cucumber cold dish, and he grabbed it and ate it. He didn't stop his mouth while he was eating, and he kept complaining, "Little Oscar, why don't you take the fat uncle's part in making steamed buns? Well, this cucumber is not bad. It is better than what I ate at the Rose Hotel yesterday. It's much stronger." After Zhao Wu listened to what Zhao Walqi said, her eyes turned red, and she shed a tear and cried, "Uncle Chubby, you ate cucumbers at the Rose Hotel yesterday? Then why didn't you take Zhao Wu to eat with you?" Haha, Zhao Wu doesn't like Uncle Chubby anymore. Zhao Walqi wished he could slap himself in the mouth. He couldn't stop himself from eating, so why did he say he missed it? On the other side, Oscar hurriedly came to Zhao Wu's side and comforted him. "Zhao Wu, don't cry. Uncle Chubby doesn't take Zhao Wu to eat delicious food, and in the future Big Brother won't cook for him. Even if he gives money, we won't feed him either. Yeah, don't give it to him." Zhao Wu stopped crying and nodded her head in agreement. After Zhao Walqi heard this, he suddenly felt that the cucumber in his mouth was no longer delicious. Why is his mouth so cheap? He quickly grinned and said with a big smile, "That little os, Zhao, Uncle Fatty is just joking. After I left the palace yesterday, I have been protecting you all in the back kitchen." "Oh, is that so? Fat uncle, you are not leaving the palace, you are entering the palace," Oscar said, glaring at Zhao Wuji. Zhao Wuji said with a confused expression, "Entering the palace? Why are you entering the palace?" Zhao Wu pinched her waist and pretended to be angry and said, "HMPH, Uncle Chubby bullied Zhao Wu." Zhao Wu was very angry, and the consequences would be serious. "Big brother, you will charge him double the price for dinner in the future." Oscar pretended to be helpless and said, "Uncle Chubby, I'm just looking at Zhao Wu's face. You only need to pay double the money to eat the meals I cook. Otherwise, according to my idea, you just pay. I won't even give you food." Zhao Walqi blinked blankly. Why did he feel something was wrong? How do I feel that the two of them are singing in front of me? Why did you double the meal money for me in a muddle-headed way? He asked with a wry smile. Can you make a half discount? Please recommend tickets. The new book list has dropped again, and it will drop out soon. Woo woo woo. Ask for a recommendation ticket. End of this chapter. Chapter 33. Oscar, Master Kingji. Oscar's small face smiled darkly. Hey hey hey. Although I can't give you a % discount Fat uncle, I can give you a broken bone. Forehead. Zhao Walqi felt a little speechless looking at the adorable Oscar who was waving his fists. As far as Oscar's little fist is concerned, if I stand up and let him fight for a year, it won't hurt. It's just that, if he doesn't give a discount, don't you have to hand over all your wallets to him in the future? My lovely little orange, little green, little purple, little red. Zhao Walqi's current expression is really as ugly as it is ugly, as painful as it is painful. Looking at Zhao Walqi's funny look, Oscar felt a little funny. He smiled slightly and thought, my good life in Douluo Dalu can't start by playing with Flender. Can't I start by playing with you, Zhao Walqi? Oscar carefully looked at the outfit on Zhao Walqi. He was very curious now. He couldn't help joking. Uncle Fat, why are you dressed so tightly today? Haha, is it cold outside today? Zhao Walqi touched the sweat on his forehead and said, look at me, does it look like it's cold outside? Uncle Chubby, why are you dressed like this? Aren't you afraid of the heat? Oscar said, pointing to Zhao Walqi's black cloak. After drinking several large glasses of water in a row, Zhao Wuji said, Gudu. Gudu, of course I'm afraid of the heat. Isn't it because of you that I dress like this? Yesterday I beat up that Pu Beichu. After his father got the news, he would definitely send someone to watch me. In order to avoid unnecessary trouble, I had no choice but to dress like this. Zhao Walqi sat helplessly on the chair, said. Oh, Oscar whispered. Oscar thought to himself, fortunately, Zhao Walqi eunuched Pu Beichu again. Otherwise, after Pu Beichu woke up again, he would definitely trouble me the first time, and now he would hate Zhao Walqi to the bone when he woke up. Oscar originally thought that Park Beichu was just an ordinary waiter in a hotel, so he didn't make too much of a big deal. But he didn't expect that this guy turned out to be a young master, and he was also the son of Shrek's deadly enemy. If he knew about it earlier, he would definitely beat him to death. And now Zhao Wuji has eunuched Pu Beichu, which only intensified the conflict between Shrek and them. He suddenly thought that Zhao Walqi's strength was the Soul Sage, and it would be very difficult for them to find trouble with Zhao Walqi, and it would be very difficult to find trouble with other teachers of Shrek Academy. Now they will definitely know about the existence of me and Zhao Wu, and they will definitely step back and attack us. It seems that troubles for me and Zhao Wu are coming soon. Zhao Walqi continued to say seriously, last night, I reported to the dean what happened yesterday, and I discussed it with him. The result is that I will stay here first. One is to protect you better, and the other is to train you better. What? Fat uncle, you want to live here? Oscar asked in horror. Zhao Walqi nodded and said, that's right. So you must bring me along for cooking. Damn it, Master Kingji. Oscar rolled his eyes and shouted, hurriedly pinching his own people with his little hands. Not to blame for his performance. If Zhao Walqi really stayed in Flender's shop, then he would no longer be able to make food that can increase soul power. In this case, his and Zhao Wu's soul power would grow very slowly, and they couldn't even cultivate their soul power. This is not the most important thing. The most important thing is that he can't make more intimate actions with Zhao Wu. For example, Zhao Wu just promised him that he will reward him with the moist version of Chang Xiangxiang at night. It will definitely be because of Zhao Walqi's stay. It was forcibly erased. How can this not make him despair? He feels that Zhao Walqi is like a full moon in the sky now. Every time in the dead of night, it will always make you worry about not being able to fall down because it is too bright. Zhao Wu looked at Oscar's current appearance of being a boudoir and resentful woman, covered her mouth and secretly laughed. Big brother must be thinking that he can't bully Zhao Wu. She put her mouth close to Oscar's ear and said softly, big brother, Zhao Wu will sleep with you at night. Zhao Wu won't be able to sleep without hugging you. Oi, Yi King is here. After hearing Zhao Wu's words, Oscar's eyes widened in an instant, and he even made a yes gesture with the hand that was pinching the person. But Zhao Wuji, who was sitting opposite, looked at them with a bewildered expression. He thought to himself, are these two kids crazy? What does Yi Qingji mean? What does Yi Qinglei mean? And what does that two-finger gesture mean? Is he despising me? Even if I ate that breakfast, it's getting late. Let's hurry up and go to training. Little Oscar, go and change your clothes. It's already time, and you're still wearing pajamas. How decent. Xiao Wuji pointed at Oscar said. Ah. Alright. Oscar lowered his head and found that he was still wearing pajamas. He was too anxious to make breakfast for Xiao Wu in the morning, and he was too busy cooking and combing his hair, so he had no time to change clothes. He also found that there are still a few long hairs on his body, which is also Xiao Wu's without thinking. Xiao Walqi must have noticed it too. Of course he would think it normal if he noticed it. The two of them are just children. Besides, Xiao Wu is his god sister. How many hairs of god sister's hair he has on him? Isn't this normal? A few minutes later, Oscar changed his clothes and Xiao Wu stood in front of Xiao Walqi. Oscar asked suspiciously, Uncle Chubby, what are we training for today? No way, we should do the dishes. Xiao Walqi said with an embarrassed face. Ahem. Of course it's not doing the dishes. Yesterday I asked you to do the dishes, to exercise your physical strength. You are still young and your body can't bear to train your physical strength every day, so today we will go to theory class. Theory class? Xiao Wu asked curiously, tilting her head. That's right. Theory class. Xiao Wuji nodded and said. Xiao Wu continued to ask, then what is a theory class? Xiao Walqi said with his hands behind his back, the so-called theoretical class is to familiarize you with the basic knowledge on Douluo Dalu. Oh. Oscar and Xiao Wu nodded at the same time. Let me first talk about the level of soul masters. They are divided into soul warriors, titled Douluo. Soul rings correspond to the age of soul beasts. And do you know the colors of the soul rings? Xiao Wuji asked Oscar and Xiao Wu. Xiao Wu stretched out her hand and shouted bouncingly, Xiao Wu knows, Xiao Wu knows. Xiao Wuji smiled happily and said, then Xiao Wu, tell Uncle Chubby, what color are the soul rings? Xiao Wu pondered for a while and said mischievously, there are 7 colors, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. Xiao Wuji shook his head while holding his forehead and said with a wry smile, no, not these 7 colors. Oscar deliberately annoyed him and said, I know. There are 4 colors of soul rings, red, green, purple, and orange. PFF dear cow. Xiao Walqi felt his throat was a bit dry, so he drank saliva to moisten his throat, but he was almost choked to death when he heard Oscar say these 4 colors. Ask for a recommendation ticket. Vote. End of this chapter. Chapter 34 Departure. Hunting Forest. Xiao Walqi thought, could it be that little Oscar guessed that the 4 waiters were with me yesterday? Can't. He is so young. How could he understand this? It's a coincidence. Definitely a coincidence. Ahem. Little Ozzy, what you said about the color is wrong. Listen to Uncle Chubby telling you that there are 4 colors of soul rings. Red, purple, green, and orange. I was led astray by you. Xiao Walqi's mind is only thinking about the gestures of those waiters yesterday, so he just let it out. Hee. Oscar and Xiao Wu secretly laughed while covering their mouths. Ahem. Well, soul rings are divided into 5 levels, namely, 10-year soul rings, century-old soul rings, 1000-year soul rings, 10,000-year soul rings, and 10-year soul rings. And there are 5 colors corresponding to the soul ring, namely, white, yellow, purple, black, and red. It's not the colors you two mentioned. Oh. Oscar and Xiao Wu nodded honestly and agreed. After all, Oscar only learned about Douluo Dalu through watching anime, and he didn't have a deep understanding of the settings in it. So when Xiao Walqi was speaking, he listened honestly and didn't interrupt Xiao Walqi. And the way to obtain the soul ring is to hunt the soul beast, absorb the soul ring for the soul master, to use after hunting the soul beast. Xiao Walqi continued shaking his head with his hands behind his back. After half a day, Xiao Wuji gave them an overview of the knowledge on Douluo Dalu. In order to let Oscar and Xiao Wu understand better, he really took great pains. While he was talking, he kept drawing with his hands, and in order to let the two of them understand the color of the soul ring, he even released the martial soul vigorous Vajra bear, and his soul rings were colored yellow, and purple. Hey appeared. It makes people look very domineering and full of arrogance. It's really worth noting that he can't resist Xiao Wuji. He originally thought that Oscar and Xiao Wu would show admiration in their eyes after seeing him release the martial spirit, but he was disappointed. He was depressed. Not only did he not see Oscar and Xiao Wu looking at him adoringly, but he also saw a trace of disgust in their eyes. Yes, it was disgust. This made him feel very aggrieved. He originally wanted to pretend to be aggressive in front of the two children, but he didn't expect that he not only failed to pretend, but was also disgusted by them. Xiao Walqi asked depressedly, "Why are you two bastards looking at me with such eyes?" Oscar smiled and teased, "Uncle Fat, didn't you say you have a red 10-year soul ring? You don't even have a red soul ring. How embarrassing." Xiao Walqi was so choked by him that he almost choked. What the hell, is there still a 10-year soul ring? If I have a 10-year soul ring, I will still be a teacher in Shrek. I also went to set foot on the Wuhan temple a long time ago. Xiao Wuji roared, dissatisfied. 10-year spirit ring. How precious and rare is a 10-year spirit ring, do you know? Not to mention me, even titled Douluo would have a hard time owning a 10-year spirit ring. Now in the entire Douluo continent, only that Aozhou Douluo has a 10-year spirit ring. No, there is another one now, and that is Bibidong, the current pope of the Wuhan temple. Her 10-year spirit ring belongs to Xiao's mother, Xiao. Oscar turned his head and looked at Xiao, who was beside him tenderly, thinking. Sure enough, Xiao Wu was just as Oscar thought. She thought of her mother. Xiao Wu clenched her teeth tightly and clenched her fists tightly. Her big eyes gleamed with mist. She looked very cute. Seeing her appearance, Oscar was very distressed. He hastily stretched out his hand and grabbed Xiao Wu's hand. Feeling the warmth from her hand, Xiao Wu looked up at Oscar and said, "Big brother." Oscar showed her a sweet smile and said, "Xiao Wu, don't be angry. We are not angry. Although I'm also very angry, we can't be as knowledgeable as him." Then he pointed to Xiao Wuji and said, "Uncle Chubby, he didn't yell at you. He just disliked him for being useless." Xiao Wuji thought innocently, "I can't complain anymore. Why is my father useless? I'm dignified and immovable. King Ming was rejected by 2 children today. How can I put my face on it if it spreads?" But he also felt a little embarrassed when he saw Xiao Wu's appearance. It was indeed his fault that such a big one yelled at the 2 children. He scratched the back of his head and said in a panic, "Well, little Os is right. Uncle Chubby is complaining that I don't have a 10-year soul ring. I don't mean to yell at Xiao Wu. He." Seeing Xiao Walqi being teased by Oscar, Xiao Wu couldn't help laughing out loud. Xiao Wuji looked at Xiao Wu and laughed happily. His original self-ashamed mood was immediately relieved. After he let out a breath, he continued, "It's getting late, so let's end today's theory class first. Both of you go clean up and bring some delicious food. Remember, it's delicious. Then I'll take you to a practical class in the afternoon. Go meet the soul beast." Practical class? Soul beast? Oscar and Xiao Wu asked with puzzled faces. "That's right, I'll take you to the hunting soul forest this afternoon," Xiao Walqi said seriously. Oscar was very puzzled. He thought to himself, why did Xiao Walqi take the 2 of us to hunting soul forest? In his understanding, Xiao Wu and I haven't awakened our martial spirit yet, so why did he take us to the hunting soul forest? Here, this is the special coat I made for you two. Xiao Walqi took out 2 black clothes from his arms and handed them to them. Oscar knew what it was without looking. It must be a black cloak like the one he was wearing. Oscar really didn't want to wear it. How old are he and Xiao Wu? If they wear this black cloak, not only will it not be able to hide, but it will also attract more attention. Isn't this place without silver, gold soul coins? Oscar hastily refused tentatively. "Uncle Chubby, can Xiao Wu and I not wear it?" Xiao Walqi said with certainty. "No, I made this specially for you before I came here, and it cost me hundreds of gold soul coins." Oscar, he even learned this trick. "I just finished talking to him yesterday, and he used it on me today." Xiao Walqi learned it really fast. These 4-eyed and chubby guys really think I'm a child. Do you really think I don't understand the value of gold soul coins? A gold soul coin can be used by an ordinary family for a few months. The 2 of them told me tens of thousands and hundreds of gold soul coins with a piece of clothing. They really thought I was a 3-year-old child. I'm a 4-year-old kid. Although he knew that the four-eyed and fat-faced people were just deceiving him, but they really cared about him. Just like yesterday, because Xiao Wuji was concerned about his and Xiao Wu's safety, he even used his hands to find the pieces of tabloa, and his hands were cut with many bloody wounds, and now the scars on his hands can still be seen. Oh, alright. Oscar agreed honestly. A few minutes later, a group of 2 young and 3 mysterious people in black cloaks stood at the door of Flinder's shop. Let's go. Hunting Forest. Ask for a recommendation ticket. End of this chapter. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 35. Xiao Wu is going to sell steamed buns. Xiao Wuqi took Oscar and Xiao Wu out of Flinder's shop, but because they were dressed too conspicuously, they attracted the strange eyes of many passers-by. If Xiao Wuqi was walking on the street alone in a black cloak, he wouldn't have attracted so many people's attention. But Oscar and Xiao Wu were too short in height, and the most important thing was that they wore a black cloak outside. I have to say that what they were wearing was really ridiculous. When they appeared together on the streets of Soto City, they immediately attracted the attention of many people, and these people who followed them were curious. Why did these 2 villains and that adult wear black cloaks on such a hot day? Is it because they are too white, afraid of being tanned by the poisonous sunlight outside? Wouldn't it be good for them to have a parasol? Could it be that they have been too tanned these 2 days and deliberately wore so much to make themselves white? Although they were very curious, they just had a look. There were too many strange people on the Douluo continent, so it was impossible for them to rush forward and ask. Both Oscar and Xiao Wu could feel the burning gazes from around them. They were both very embarrassed now, and looked at Xiao Wuji, who was walking in front with hatred. Why does Xiao Wuqi insist on making us wear black cloaks? Wearing this thing, it's not hidden at all. How do they know Xiao Wuji's unfathomable thoughts? The reason why Xiao Wuji let them wear cloaks was to be able to smoothly lead them into the hunting soul forest. They are too young now to awaken their martial souls. If he brings such young children into the hunting soul forest, the guard at the gate will never let them in. But when they put on the black cloaks, it was different. Everyone would think that they were adults, but they were simply short. Xiao Wuqi's idea is really an excellent solution in his own opinion. He is so smart. It seems that I'm not a rough person. Xiao Wuqi in the front was narcissistically thinking about his intelligence, while Oscar and Xiao Wu in the back looked at him angrily and with hatred. Uncle Chubby, where is the hunting soul forest? How far is it? Oscar asked, staring at Xiao Wuqi from behind. Almost there, almost there. Xiao Wuji said. Half an hour passed. At this time, they had already walked out of Soto City, and there were not many people around, and there were only sporadic carriages passing by on the street. Uncle Chubby, how long will it take us to reach the hunting forest? Oscar asked again, holding Xiao Wu's hand. It's almost there, it's almost there. Xiao Wuqi said perfunctorily. Uncle Chubby, Xiao Wu and I can't walk anymore. How far is it? It's almost there, it's almost there, it's almost there. If you feel bored, let me tell you about the hunting forest. Just in time to have another theory class, and it can distract your attention. When I finish the lecture, I will tell you about it. It should be almost there. Xiao Wuqi turned around and bent down and said, you can only get there after talking about the entire hunting forest. Then it will take at least half an hour. Why don't you do a carriage for such a long distance? The third son and the master son of the family both made a carriage to get to the hunting forest in Notting City. So why did they walk here? Isn't it just a little closer? Do you need to exercise your physical strength like this? Didn't you already say that you won't exercise your physical strength? This Xiao Wuqi is definitely to save money. It is also called continuing to take theoretical classes. Oscar had no choice but to reply speechlessly. Alright. Xiao Wuqi said while walking. The hunting soul forest is a place where spirit beasts are raised in captivity. I also said in the morning that there are high level spirit beasts and low level spirit beasts. Naturally, high-level spirit beasts cannot be raised in captivity, but low-level spirit beasts cannot be kept in captivity. Beasts are different. Most of the soul beasts raised in the hunting forest are 10-year soul beasts and century-old soul beasts, and 1000-year soul beasts are rare. Oscar and Xiao Wu listened carefully to what Xiao Walqi said, and they forgot their fatigue. After walking for another half an hour, they saw that there were more and more pedestrians around them. Looking around, they found that the hunting soul forest was just like the one in the anime. It didn't have the sense of nature like a forest. The air was fresh, but it was extremely noisy. What caught their eyes was a huge and noisy market. There are dense houses and shops here, and all kinds of yelling sounds one after another. Oscar and Xiao Wu frowned secretly when they heard their yelling. It must be too noisy here. Even the night in Soto City is not inferior at all, and their yelling is very harsh, and it makes people feel very expensive. The most important thing is that no matter what you shout, it will make you feel very expensive. Very expensive. Hunting agile soul beasts, warrants for 7 people, 10 gold soul coins. Big sword, big gun, big armor, gold soul coins for each piece. You can't buy it to lose money, you can't buy it to be fooled. White, big, juicy, and delicious buns, 1 for each silver soul coin. Xiao Wu tugged at Oscar's cloak and said, big brother, look, there are also big buns here. And the yelling words are the same. Are they from the same family? That's right. Oscar said speechlessly. Then why did they display the steamed stuffed buns? And the steamed stuffed buns are sold, not by a big sister with big meat, but by a fat uncle? Xiao Wu continued to ask. This? Oscar hesitated for a long time without saying anything. At this time, Xiao Walqi next to him found an excuse and said, because they sell different people. Most of the people who buy buns here are soul masters, and some of the buns they sell are also soul masters, and let young it is extremely difficult for a female soul master to sell buns at the door. Oh, Xiao Wu understands. Big brother, Xiao Wu will be the first female soul master to sell buns in the future. Xiao Wu said cleverly. No. Oscar and Xiao Walqi shouted excitedly in unison. Xiao Wu, from now on you can just eat. If you want to sell steamed stuffed buns, Big Brother will sell them. Just watch. Oscar put his hands on Xiao Wu's shoulders and said earnestly. Xiao Wu nodded and agreed. Xiao Wu knows. From now on Big Brother will sell it, and Xiao Wu will watch from the side. Oscar felt that there was something wrong with this sentence. At this time, Xiao Wuji also quickly said, yes, let Xiao Oscar sell it. Xiao Wu, you just need to watch from the side, and you must not sell buns. Now Oscar hates the shop called Crispy Tiger Buns to death. This Crispy Tiger Buns has ruined Xiao Wu, so he decided to close it down, if there is a chance. At this time, they also came to the entrance of the hunting forest. The entrance of the hunting soul forest is made of marble. Because it is the entrance of the forest, there are some branches extending from it, which makes people look particularly mysterious. Wow. So majestic. Xiao Wu exclaimed. Ask for favorites, comments, and recommendation tickets. The new book list is down. Hoo. End of this chapter. Chapter 36 Green Curly Screaming Big Cock. Although the market in Hunting Soul Forest was noisy and chaotic, they were inevitably shocked when they came to the guard. They could see the huge trees in the hunting forest across the guard, and there were huge fences covered with sharp thorns extending on both sides of the guard. The height of these steel fences must be at least 15 meters, which makes people feel extraordinarily strong. And on both sides of this magnificent guard, there are 2 rows of guards wearing silver armor and holding silver spears. At the very edge of these guards, there are still 2 teams of hundreds of guards patrolling. Their bodies exude a chilling power, which makes people dare not approach easily. It's no wonder that Xiao Wu said the word majestic. It's so spectacular. Even Oscar was shocked by this scene. Watching anime and experiencing it for himself are 2 completely different things. Xiao Walqi took out a token from his bosom. The token was so black that it was hard to tell what material it was made of. The warrant of the Hall of Spirits? How could Xiao Walqi have the warrant of the Hall of Spirits? Oscar thought suspiciously. The reason why Oscar could see that this was a warrant issued by Wu Hundian was because it was exactly the same as the token in the hands of the 3 cannon master in the anime. I saw that the token was composed of 3 engraved figures, with a sharp sword in the middle, and a hammer and a monster with teeth and claws on both sides of the sword. And what Zhao Wuji held in his hand was just an ordinary low-level token. It looked like a disposable product. As for how he got this token, it was unknown. Zhao Wuji flipped the token in his hand and thought, Dean Flender is the one who can get the soul hunting token. Zhao Wuji brought Oscar and Zhao Wu to the captain of the guard who was in charge of checking the warrant, and the captain of the guard was not surprised when he saw their strange combination. This is entirely because there are everyone who enters the hunting forest. There are even people who take ordinary old men and old ladies to travel. Of course, only the guards knew if they came out or not. The captain of the guard stared at Zhao Wuji and thought, this person actually makes me, a level 47 soul sect, feel very dangerous. Then his strength will definitely far exceed mine. At least he is also a soul king. It was a group that led a tour to the hunting soul forest. The guard captain quickly ordered the other guards to open a passage and asked Zhao Wuji and the others to enter. As for why these guards invited Zhao Wuji and the others to go in, because in Douluo Dalu, the strong are respected, and the strong deserve to be respected. Zhao Wuji led Oscar and Zhao Wu through the guards and entered the soul hunting forest. In the surrounding soul hunting forest, they couldn't even see a bird soul beast, so they walked straight to the inside of the soul hunting forest. When they came to the interior of the hunting soul forest, the original noise was gone, and now they were only accompanied by the densely packed trees and the sky. Not to mention that this hunting forest is really suitable for tourism. The surrounding air is exceptionally fresh, which makes people feel refreshed. If you think your strength is strong enough, it is definitely a very happy thing to have a wild dinner in the hunting forest. Zhao Wuji walked ahead to open the way. Then he turned his head and said to them seriously, little Oscar, Zhao Wu, from now on you must never leave my side. Oscar and Zhao Wu nodded and said. Zhao Wuji wanted to show them the weak soul beasts, so he didn't release the martial soul. If he really released the martial soul, he wouldn't need to look at the soul beasts. Those soul beasts would have already run away in fright. Of course, for the sake of Oscar and Zhao Wu's safety, he specifically asked them not to leave his side. At this moment, a particularly kind cry sounded. Ahop, 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 ahop. The voice of Oscar is too familiar. Isn't this just watching for yourself? Bar, I didn't see anything. Cough cough. Isn't this the sound of the screaming chicken toy in the previous life? Oscar quickly looked towards the sound. It turned out to be just a soul beast, and not only did the sound of this soul beast make people feel very kind, but its appearance was also very kind. It turned out that this soul beast looked very much like the big rooster in the previous life, but it grew a little bigger and could be as big as a school desk. It's just that the fur on its body is not as bright as that of a big rooster. The fur on its body is in a curly shape, and the color is still green, especially like the color of the forest next to it. If it hadn't been screaming, it would be really hard for people to find it. As for why it yelled, it was entirely because there was a nest under its body, and it was supposed to be hatching chicks. The arrival of Oscar and the others made it feel the danger, but in order to protect its own child, it did not flee by itself, but made a warning call. Seeing this scene, Oscar couldn't help shouting, the green curly screaming big cock is cuddling. It's no wonder that Oscar was so surprised, because he is still completely unfamiliar with the names and appearances of soul beasts. Zhao Wuji shook his head and said speechlessly, knowing soul beasts is a compulsory course for a soul master. It seems that tomorrow I will give you a class on recognizing soul beasts, and this soul beast is not called a green curly screaming rooster. It is nothing more than a 10-year-old emerald chicken. Oscar questioned in disbelief, emerald chicken? That's right, it's protecting its child. We'd better not disturb it. Zhao Wuji nodded. They left here and continued to move forward. Zhao Wuji said as he walked, the emerald chicken just now belongs to the chicken family soul beast. It is not too aggressive. It is the most common type of soul beast and is often used by soul masters. Use it to fill your stomach. The rookie is really a rookie. No one can escape the fate of a rookie there. Oscar thought speechlessly. At this time, Zao pointed to a cat-like soul beast and continued, that soul beast is a 10-year-old colorful cat. Although it is small, its attack power is very powerful. This colorful cat is enough kill that emerald chicken just now. Zao pointed to the dense willow tree not far ahead and said, look at the big willow tree growing on the rock in front. It is also a kind of soul beast. It is a plant type soul beast. Look at it. If the height exceeds 10 meters, it proves that it is a 100-year-old soul beast. And because it is a willow tree growing on a rock, its soul beast name is Liu Yan. Before Zao finished speaking, Oscar couldn't wait to answer. No, it's not Liu Yan. The name of this soul beast is Liu. It seems that today I must let you get to know the soul beast well. Zao stretched out a hand to his forehead and said speechlessly, stone willow. Oscar murmured in a daze. He. Big brother, you are so stupid. How could you guess that it is called Liu Yan? Zao snickered while covering her mouth. Ask for collection. Ask for a recommendation ticket. Ask for a comment. Punch in please. Thank you boss. End of this chapter. Chapter 37 Camping and Picnic in the Hunting Forest. Oscar thought to himself, how can I tell Zao that I like big chicken breasts? That's right, I'm talking about the big breasts of the green curly screaming emerald chicken. Oscar pretended to be angry and said, Zao, how dare you call big brother stupid? See if I don't pull your rabbit ears. Slightly Zao stretched out her playful tongue and said mischievously. Afterwards, Zao took Oscar and Zao to continue on their way. This time he really taught them a vivid soul beast identification class. Zao is really a qualified teacher, very patiently teaching them to identify various spirit beasts. Because of Zao great strength, he can find any soul beasts hidden in dark corners, as long as they have never seen them before. Zao will find them one by one. Of course, among the spirit beasts they knew, there were also a few 100-year-old spirit beasts, but with a spirit power that Zao radiated, those spirit beasts ran away in fright like a mouse seeing a cat. And Zao also patiently taught Oscar and the others the names of these spirit beasts, their characteristics and the method to identify the age of these spirit beasts. This also made Oscar feel that he had benefited a lot, but Zao next to him felt very boring, because as a 10-year-old soul beast, how could she not know these low-level soul beasts? At this moment, Zao looked up at the sky and said, it's getting late. I decided that we won't go back tonight. Let's camp here first. I haven't had dinner in the wild for a long time. Okay. Uncle Chubby, Zao is going camping. Zao jumped up and down very happily. Zao agreed, and Oscar had no choice but to agree along with it. He actually didn't want to camp here, because Zao never let them out of his sight, and he didn't even have the chance to experiment with the first soul skill at all. So it's better to go back to sleep early. The most important thing is to have Zao after returning moist bonus 2. At this moment, Oscar recalled the scene where the little Sana came to the hunting forest in the Douluo Dalu-themed anime in his previous life, and he couldn't help complaining in his heart. Why did he also enter the hunting forest? Why is there such a big gap between people? Oscar clearly remembered that the master of Sanpao and Zao Sana in the previous animation came to the hunting forest and released the Sanpao martial spirit, let Sanpao fart, and sprinkled pollen, and did not dare to ignite eating wild game. They just gnaw on the buns to satisfy their hunger. They are really miserable, and they dare not even move. They are so cowardly. They are just two cowards. Look at us again. After we came to the hunting soul forest, it was like coming to the back garden of our own home. I can play as I want, play casually, visit casually. You say it is annoying or not. It's okay to visit and play, but we still have a picnic and camp here. This is simply a vacation here. Shouldn't there be some meteor showers to cooperate? At this time, Zao also led them to find a suitable place for camping. This place is extraordinarily open, and there are few bushes around it. This place is simply a natural camping place. Of course, this must be based on the fact that there are no powerful soul beasts around. If there is no such soul sage as Zao, how would they dare to camp here? Don't they think their lives are long? The sky gradually darkened, and the hunting soul forest did not become quiet because of the darkening sky, but became a little manic and uneasy. All kinds of spirit beasts around were roaring violently, and their voices came one after another. Zhao Walqi led them to sit down. Zhao Walqi picked up some dry firewood and put them in a pile. He showed his back molars and said with a smile, "Little Oscar, have you brought everything I asked you to bring?" "Yes, I brought them all." Oscar nodded and said. He took out an ignition tool, some seasonings and a few steamed buns in his arms, but of course these things were not many. It's just that a fire zip is a little bigger, and the rest of the seasonings are packed in a few paper bags. The shape of these dressing papers wrapped in seasonings, especially like the arsenic in some TV dramas, makes people feel that this stuff is poisonous at a glance. Of course it is just seasoning. Zhao Walqi picked up the torch and lit the dry wood he picked up just now. The flames splashed all over the place, and the dry wood made the sound of being burned. He doesn't care whether it attracts soul beasts or not. The strongest soul hunting forest in Aozhou city is only a 1,000-year soul beast. How could it be Zhao Wuji's opponent? Besides, this millennium soul beast is not a stupid beast. Knowing that there is an existence that it can't afford to provoke, it foolishly came to provoke it. It's just that the news that there is only 1,000-year-old soul beast in the hunting soul forest was spread by the soul master, because no one has ever encountered a 10,000-year soul beast in this forest. This is like a joke in the previous life. A person was playing bungee jumping, and then he asked the staff how often the rope should be changed for safety reasons, and the staff answered him when it broke, and when to change it. If you haven't met a 10,000-year soul beast, there will be no 10,000-year soul beast. All I want are your seasonings. Zhao Walqi looked at Oscar approvingly. His eyes made Oscar feel a little overwhelmed. Because Zhao Walqi's eyes now seemed to be like a big grey wolf staring at a beautiful sheep full of greed. At this time, I saw Zhao Wuji on his belt, unexpectedly took out a bunch of food out of thin air. Of course most of these food were meat. He definitely wanted Oscar to prepare some delicious meat for him. It can be seen that he had already planned to camp here, and he didn't have to pay for it. After all, this is the food he prepared. And Oscar was also stunned when he saw Zhao Walqi take out the meat. He was not surprised by the meat, but the belt around Zhao Walqi's waist, because the belt that Zhao Wuji was wearing turned out to be a soul tool. Oscar quickly asked, "Uncle Fat, how did you conjure these things?" Zhao Wuji pointed to his belt and said, "This belt of mine is not an ordinary belt. It is a soul guide that can store things." "Don't look at me like that. Don't you just want to know what the soul tool means?" Hehe. Zhao Walqi looked at the pitiful Oscar and Zhao Wu with a smirk. Oscar knew what Zhao Walqi meant when he heard his laughter, but how could he be so easy to compromise? But before he could refute Zhao Walqi, he opened his mouth and said, "Soul guides, as the name suggests, are tools that use soul power, and soul guides are very rare in the Douluo continent, and it can be described as rare. The method of making the soul tool has been lost on the Douluo continent. And I got this belt on an expedition with some friends, and we got 2 belts in that expedition, and this is one of them. And that belt is too fancy. There are 24 jade stones on it, so I don't want it. What I want is this very ordinary looking black belt. Does it fit my low-key, luxurious, and connotative temperament? Ask for a recommendation ticket. Ask for a check-in. Ask for a comment. Ask for a rating. Stop hiding and let me know you're still there." End of this chapter. Chapter 38 Little Black Snake Belt Soul Guidance Device. Oscar listened to Zhao Walqi's narration. Why did the more he listened, the more he felt that the other belt was so similar to Zayasana's 24 Bridge Moonlight. Don't tell me that the person who is on the adventure with you is the 3 Cannon Master Uzaya gang. And that belt was exactly the 24 Bridge Moonlit Night that Master Sanpeo gave Zayasana later. Also, according to what Zhao Walqi said, the plot where he got the belt, why is it so similar to the plot where Sunhousey coaxed King Silverhorn? It was also obtained from the same place. What Master Sanpeo got was a belt that looked exquisitely crafted, but what Zhao Walqi got was a black belt that was not slippery. If there is no trick in this statement, no one will believe it, no matter whether others believe it or not. I don't believe it anyway. According to the slick appearance of Uzaya gang, the master of the three cannons. No matter how you look at it, he is coaxing Zhao Walqi, letting Zhao Walqi take this seemingly inconspicuous belt, and he takes the 24 bridge moonlight night that he likes. However, if this black belt was obtained in the same place as 24 bridges of moonlight night, it must not be ordinary. Even though it looks ugly, it may be more precious than 24 bridges of moonlight night. It seems that I have to behave well, in case Zhao Walqi gets kicked in the head by a donkey, or gets his head caught. He suddenly gives me this belt. Although this belt is of no use to him now, what if it can be used in the future? Even if you don't need it, it's good to keep it as a pretense. Looking at Oscar's stunned expression, Zhao Walqi was very pleased, and he continued to speak proudly, and I also gave this black belt a very domineering name, and its name is Little Black Snake. Oscar and Zhao Wu had black lines on their faces, and their mouths twitched slightly. His name is really too domineering. It's so domineering that it didn't leak out at all. This black belt, let me tell you, it's not as ordinary as it looks. I'll tell you again. Zhao Walqi was speaking wonderfully, and suddenly covered his stomach with one hand and shouted. He pinched this point really well, as if he was talking about the wonderful part of the pink shoe preaching, and suddenly came to predict what will happen next. Please listen to the next chapter. To break it down, point you say this is not angry. This made Oscar feel that Zhao Walqi was definitely doing it on purpose. He wanted to arouse his curiosity, so that he could honestly grill the meat. It was indeed very late now. He and Zhao Wu both felt a little hungry, so he didn't complain about Zhao Walqi, let alone the meat was provided by Zhao Walqi. Zhao Walqi went to the side to find a bunch of twigs to skewer the meat, and built a big support on top of the fire for barbecue. Of course, the rest of the work was handed over to Oscar. Oscar asked Zhao Walqi to make a few more skewers, especially the steamed buns he brought. Toasted steamed buns. Because steamed buns are relatively easy to cook, they started eating them after a while. It was the first time for Zhao Wu and Zhao Wuju to eat steamed buns like this, and after they ate them, their expressions were full of enjoyment. Zhao Wu's little mouth was covered with oil stains. She looked at Oscar full of love and praised, "Big brother, the baked buns you made are really delicious. It's as delicious as yours." Seeing Zhao Wu's appearance, Oscar quickly wiped the corners of her mouth with his hand and said, "If it tastes good, eat more. Just wait a little longer. The meat will be ready soon." "Yeah, Zhao Wu wants to eat meat," Zhao Wu said with big eyes full of expectation. Oscar turned his head to look at Zhao Walqi, who was holding a piece of roast meat, gnawing on it like a wolf with a mouth full of grease. When Oscar saw this scene, the corner of his mouth twitched, and he hurriedly said, "Uncle Fatty, slow down. Wait, this meat is not yet cooked, and there are blood shots in it." Zhao Walqi shook his head, and said with grease stains on his mouth, "It's okay, it's okay. I've eaten raw meat before. This is half cooked. It's okay, it's okay. Emma, this is too fragrant. I'll have another bite." Oscar snatched the barbecue, and said speechlessly, "Ah, fatty uncle, wait a little longer. This meat will be cooked soon. You should first talk about your little black snake belt." "Oh, that's fine," Zhao Walqi said in a compromised manner. He continued, "By the way, my little black snake looks ordinary, black, and thin, but its ability is very special, because its ability is to store things, and its inside the storage space is huge. Look at the 3 black stones on this belt. Each of these 3 stones can provide 10 cubic meters of storage space." Zhao Walqi pointed to the 3 black stones at the head of the belt and said, 10 cubic meters, 3 yuan means 24 cubic meters. Isn't this larger than the storage space of bridges on a moonlit night? Since this little black snake has such a large storage space, this is too powerful. No wonder Zhao Walqi was able to take out so much meat just now. Oscar now wanted to understand the real reason why Xiao Gang didn't want the little black snake. Because this little black snake is not only ugly, but also has only 3 storage spaces. Although these 3 storage spaces are large, they are only used for storing things. Soul Masters usually don't carry many things with them, and they basically don't need to bring weapons or anything. So what they bring is just some food and daily necessities. Compared with the little black snake, 24 bridge moonlight night not only looks very beautiful, but also has 24 storage spaces. Although the storage space inside is small, 24 bridge moonlight night is more useful in terms of use, so it does not need this little black snake, and wants 24 moonlit nights on the bridge. After listening to Zhao Waoqi's speech, Oscar also had a deeper understanding of the little black snake belt. This little black snake belt is actually not inferior to the moonlit night at the 24 bridges, it's just that I haven't met the right person. Just like if the 24 bridges and moonlit nights were not obtained by Xiaozina, its function would be nothing more than 24 small warehouses, at most. It is like Zhao Waoqi with meat in it. After Zhao Waoqi finished speaking, they began to sweep the barbecue in front of them with all their strength. Their mouths were full of oil. And they are here with cage fire and barbecue, and the forest not far from them also attracts many soul beasts. These spirit beasts formed a circle in the forest and stared at Oscar and the others. Each of these spirit beasts had blue-faced fangs, and the corners of their mouths were dripping with saliva like a waterfall. They were all attracted by the aroma of the barbecue, because they had never smelled such a fragrant smell. Their primitive desires made them come here to look for food, but after coming here, they felt the danger of death, which made them dare not approach. Because the soul power of the soul sage exuded from Zhao Waoqi made them dare not take a step forward, they had no choice but to stand around and stare at Oscar and the others. But Oscar and the others threw the leftover bones into the forest, as if they were on vacation. For a while, the roars of spirit beasts in the forest continued one after another, making people feel shuddering. Please recommend, please comment, thank you boss. End of this chapter. Chapter 39 Watching the Meteor Shower with Zhao Wu 1. After Oscar and the others finished eating the barbecue, Zhao Waoqi took out 2 mattresses from the little black snake's belt. Zhao Waoqi threw one to Oscar and said, "You make the bed yourself, try to rest as early as possible. We will go back tomorrow morning." After finishing speaking, he took a rest on the mattress by himself. Of course, he didn't sleep, but closed his eyes and rested his mind. He must always observe the movement around him, in case these greedy soul beasts go crazy and attack them. Meanwhile, Oscar spread out the mattress and Zhao Wu lay on it. But he didn't go to bed early as Zhao Waoqi said. How dare he sleep, camping in the wild? What if Zhao Wuji couldn't take care of him alone, and he was taken away by wolves? The most important thing is that he is camping outside with Zhao Wu. What a warm and romantic thing it is. How could he sleep? Isn't it good to talk more about love? Maybe there will be a moist fragrance. Zhao Wu's head rested on Oscar's arm, but this time they didn't embrace each other, but looked up at the sky. The dark night sky is full of stars, just like Zhao Wu's eyes blinking. It looks extraordinarily cute and intoxicating. Big brother, the starry sky at night is so beautiful. Zhao Wu really wants to lie in your arms forever. Zhao Wu looked at Oscar with her big eyes and said softly. With gentle eyes, Oscar gently kissed Zhao Wu's forehead and said, "Then big brother will hug you like this forever." Zhao Wu wants big brother to hug Zhao Wu all the time. Zhao Wu buried her face in Oscar's arms and whispered, "Big brother, Zhao Wu doesn't want to sleep. You sing a song for Zhao Wu." Zhao Wu said playfully as she turned over and lay on Oscar's body. Looking at Zhao Wu's small face approaching, Oscar agreed. "Okay. Then big brother will sing Little Star. Twinkle, twinkle, the sky is full of little stars, hanging in the sky to shine brightly, like beautiful little eyes." Oscar sang cutely, shaking his head. "He. Big brother, you look so cute. Zhao Wu will be amused to death by you." Zhao Wu looked at Oscar's cute appearance and laughed. Oscar suddenly changed his previous cute expression, looked at Zhao Wu affectionately, and continued to sing. "You are my little star. Hang. Let the light shine in that sky. I've decided to love you. I won't give up easily." Oscar sang a song for Zhao Wu affectionately. Zhao Wu also looked at Oscar affectionately. Zhao Wu and Oscar felt very happy now. After listening to Oscar's singing, Zhao Wu directly and emotionally rewarded Oscar with a moist xiang. Because Zhao Wuji was not far away from them, and Zhao Wu only touched the water, and did not have a long relationship with Oscar. But even so, Oscar was refreshed for a while. He felt the moistness from his mouth was very tender. "Why the hell are you still sleeping and resting? Let the storm come more violently." After Zhao Wu rewarded Oscar with a moist fragrance, her red face was like a red apple. This time, she didn't dodge embarrassingly, but looked directly at Oscar's expectant eyes with a slightly red face and said, "Big brother, Xiao also wants to learn this song, and then sing it to Big brother." Oscar knew that they had no follow-up development now, and he hated Xiao, the light bulb, fiercely in his heart. Oscar licked his lips and said, "Sure. It's so sweet." Embarrassed, Xiao turned her face to one side and said shamefully, "Oh, big brother, you are so bad. You are my little star." Although Xiao not far away has his eyes closed, he can still feel that he is particularly glaring now. What am I doing? Why am I here? Why do I have to suffer like this? Hey, it's great to be young. He could only sigh helplessly in his heart. But what made him even more helpless hadn't happened yet. At this moment, a shooting star flashed across the sky. This light was spotted by Oscar. He hurriedly pointed his finger at the sky and said to Xiao, "Xiao, look quickly, there is a shooting star." Xiao also hurriedly flipped over on Oscar's body, but her speed was still a bit slow, and when she looked into the sky, the shooting star had disappeared. Xiao pursed her mouth and said with pitiful eyes, "Big brother." Xiao didn't see the meteor. When Xiao was disappointed, Oscar shouted again excitedly, "Xiao, look quickly, it's a meteor shower." Xiao quickly looked at the sky this time, only to see shooting stars passing by in the night sky. They were like a group of lively spirits, passing by in the silent night sky. Seeing this beautiful scene, Xiao's big eyes shone faintly, and she couldn't help admiring. "It's so beautiful." "Xiao, quickly make a wish." Oscar stretched out both hands to hold Xiao's little hand and said, "N." Xiao wants to be with her big brother forever and ever. Xiao closed her eyes and promised. Oscar wished, "I want to be with Xiao forever and ever." He, big brother, Xiao likes you." Xiao hugged Oscar tightly and said. At this moment, Oscar sang in Xiao's ear again. "Accompany Xiao to watch the meteor shower. It falls on this continent. Let your heart rest on my chest. Big brother, you are so kind to Xiao." Xiao Xiao cried against Oscar's chest. Oscar hurriedly comforted. "Xiao, don't cry. Big brother will sing for you. Accompany Xiao to watch the meteor shower fall on this continent. Let your tears fall on my shoulders. They are here and you and I are sweet and sweet, while Xiao on the other side feels empty, lonely and cold in everything. Watch the meteor shower with you. It falls on this continent. Let my tears also fall on this continent." Xiao thought bitterly in his heart. Xiao had already opened his eyes to look at them, because he had never seen any meteor shower. When Oscar said there was a meteor shower, he quickly opened his eyes and looked up at the sky. He also secretly imitated Oscar and Xiao, and he may have a wish. His wish is to let me go home quickly. I want to go home. It's not fun here. It's too sweet. Not suitable for my ability to stay here. Xiao is very sad and painful now. The two of them are indeed here to travel, but I'm here to act as their bodyguard. At this moment, there was a loud roar in the forest, which scared the soul beasts that had been hiding in the forest before, and ran away in all directions. When Xiao heard the roar, he stood up quickly, released his martial spirit hastily, and shouted at Oscar and Xiao, "It's dangerous. You all stand behind me." Xiao fell into deep thought. This call should be that 1,000-year-old soul beast colorful sky-swallowing python. Shouldn't it be active in the depths of the hunting soul forest? How did it come to the periphery? And when it feels my breath coming here? Could it be that he was attracted by the barbecue made by Oscar? No way. Ask for a recommendation ticket. Ask for a recommendation ticket. End of this chapter. Chapter 40. Colorful sky-swallowing python. There was a loud roar in the hunting soul forest, and the other soul beasts that had been around for a long time were frightened and ran away, and the forest fell into silence in an instant. And in the direction of the roar, one can only vaguely see a large cloud of dust in the distant forest, being lifted up by it, and only the rustling sound can be heard as it comes. And with its arrival, there is also a fishy smell in the air. This smell is both sweet and astringent. Xiao stood ready. 7 spirit rings surrounded him, and he also turned into a giant with a height of meters. To be precise, he should be a bear man. Come on, little snake. Kang busy, BB, come and eat the dog. Bah, one time is enough. Zhao Walqi stretched out his hand and hooked his fingers and said in the direction of the rustling sound. What he said was learned by him and Oscar, but he learned it immaturely, as if one time is enough. He said that he came to eat the dog. But he let this soul beast eat dogs. Didn't this soul beast come here to eat him? Isn't this calling him a dog again? So he reacted quickly and said the correct number of times. Perhaps because of his provocation, the soul beast suddenly accelerated and rushed towards this side. Just in the blink of an eye, it came to the forest opposite Zhao Walqi. Oscar looked into the forest and could only see two red lantern-like eyes staring at them, which was enough to see how huge this soul beast was. And as the spirit beast got closer and closer to them, it also emerged from the hidden forest. The moonlight in the sky shone on it, and its appearance was also reflected in Oscar's eyes. This soul beast is particularly huge, and the accurate description is that it is particularly long and thick. This soul beast looks like a huge boa constrictor, but its body is colorful, and its head is also colorful. The most peculiar thing about its head is that it has two small horns. These two small horns are very similar to deer antlers, but its two small horns are a bit out of place with its body shape, because its two small horns are too small. It's so small that, if you don't look carefully, you can't tell that there are two cute little horns growing on its head. These two little horns grow on its head, which makes it look a little less scary. Big brother, look at how cute it is. The two little horns on its head are also super cute. Zhao Wu pointed at the monster with her little finger and said to Oscar. Oscar did indeed observe those two little horns, and he said to Zhao Wu with a doting face, there are cute bunny ears on its little horns. Hee, big brother is right. Zhao Wu said with a slightly red face. If you don't look at the suffocating red eyes of this soul monster and its long letter, you will definitely think that this soul beast is very beautiful and a little cute. Of course, if you think it is cute, you have to ignore its barking, because its barking is not the slightest sound of an ordinary snake, but a wailing sound. It's not the roar of the dragon, it's really this cry is the voice of the king who can drive away the soul beasts in the hunting forest. Seeing the appearance of this soul beast, Zhao Wuji exclaimed, it's really a 5-colored sky-swallowing python. Why does it appear here? Oscar thought a little speechlessly, you might as well just call Zhao Kalin a little more directly than the colorful sky-swallowing python. Zhao Walqi was very calm when facing this boa constrictor, because his strength lies here. As a soul sage, isn't he easy to deal with this little snake? So he didn't forget to teach Oscar and Zhao Wu at this time. He pointed to the colorful sky-swallowing python and said, Oscar, Zhao Wu, you can see that this colorful sky-swallowing python has exceeded 10 meters in length. Every year the snake-like soul beast cultivates, its body will grow by 1 centimeter, and the length of this colorful sky-swallowing python is already it's more than 10 meters, so it's already a 1,000-year-old soul beast. Uncle Chubby, is there any way to identify its age? Oscar asked curiously. Zhao Wuji continued to explain, yes, there is another way to distinguish the age of this colorful sky-swallowing python, that is to see how many colors it has on its body. The colorful sky-swallowing python should have been called the sky-swallowing python, and the two words in front of it not only describe its color, but also correspond to its strength. The sky-swallowing python had only 2 colors when it came into the world, that is, red and yellow, so it could be called the double-colored sky-swallowing python at that time. And as its strength improves every time, another color will appear on its body. If you look carefully at the body of the swallowing python, it has 5 colors, red, orange, yellow, green, and purple. So you can see it turns out that it is a 1,000-year-old soul beast, the colorful sky-swallowing python. After listening to Zhao Walqi's explanation, Oscar suddenly realized that the 5-colored sky-swallowing python can also distinguish its strength by color. So if it has 7 colors, wouldn't it become a 10-year-old soul beast? At this time, Zhao Wuji's voice sounded again, but this time he said in a questioning tone, why did this colorful python rush over and just look at us so straightly? Could it be stupid? This 5-colored sky-swallowing python did come in a hurry as Zhao Wuji described, and after seeing them again, it stopped moving. It just stared at the 3 of them, motionless and fixed. The only thing that moves is its spitting letter. Zhao Wuji found that the 5-colored sky-swallowing python did not attack them, and grinned with a big mouth. Ha ha ha, have you seen it? Strength determines everything. This 1,000-year-old soul beast feels my soul power at the level of a soul sage, and it scares me. I dare not move. Zhao Wuji stretched out his finger to provoke the colorful python and shouted, "Hey, little snake, are you moved? If I'm not a soul sage, do you still love me?" Oscar was behind Zhao Wuji. Seeing his snarky look, he really wanted to stretch out his little feet and kick Zhao Wuji's ass. This Zhao Wuji is so slapstick. But the 5-colored sky-swallowing python didn't get angry because of Zhao Wuji's provocation. It just moved its head forward again, staring at Zhao Wuji. Zhao Wuji did not show weakness. The two of them just stared at each other intently. This scene was really funny. Oscar looked at Zhao Wuji in a daze. What is this colorful sky-swallowing python doing? Don't attack when they come. Just look at Zhao Wuji like this. Could it be that he was thinking whether he could swallow Zhao Wuji in one gulp? And just as Zhao Wuji and the colorful sky-swallowing python looked at each other with big eyes, a system voice suddenly sounded in Oscar's mind. Ding. Congratulations to the host for triggering the branch beast pet mission. Please do everything you can to accept the sky-swallowing python in front of you as your first beast pet. Mission reward. Beast pet space. 10 bags of pet ration seasoning. Ask for a punch card. Please recommend a ticket. End of this chapter. Chapter 41. Zhao Wuji trapped by a snake. Beast. The system wants me to keep a pet. Raising is fine, but can you choose one with slightly lower strength? For example, the 10-year-old emerald hen is good, and you can pick up a few emerald eggs to eat when there is no food. And the 10-year-old colorful cat is also very good, and it will be very comfortable to hold the cat in my arms if I have nothing to do. But why do you want me to accept this boa constrictor? Is it scary? I really won't despise my pet's low combat power, really. Since it is a pet, of course it should be kept as a pet, but this colorful swallowing python is not suitable for keeping it as a pet, no matter how you look at it. This 5-colored sky-swallowing python is too powerful. It is a 1,000-year-old soul beast. How can such a small one like myself subdue it? And this 5-colored sky-swallowing python doesn't look easy to mess with at first glance. Even with Zhao Wuji, the soul sage, it would not be easy to subdue this colorful sky-swallowing python. Because how could a 1,000-year-old soul beast surrender so easily? Even if it surrenders, it must surrender to the soul sage Zhao Wuji, right? How could it surrender to a child like me? This made Oscar look sad, because this task is too difficult. It is simply an impossible task. He intends to ask the system to change the task, but the system will definitely say that he is not as good as a pig, so he reluctantly accepts the task. After all, this is a task with no time limit. If it doesn't work today, then it's later. Anyway, there is no task punishment. If it is not possible, wait until you break through to the Soul King realm, and then come to push Pei Gao together with this colorful sky-swallowing python. He stared straight at the incomparably huge 5-colored sky-swallowing python in front of him, thinking, "Little Kaylin, how did you come to my bowl obediently today?" But at this moment, the 5-colored sky-swallowing python, staring at Zhao Wuji with small eyes, suddenly moved. But what it moved was not to attack Zhao Wuji, but to avoid him, and open its mouth to rush towards Oscar. This surprised Oscar. What is the situation? The system just released the task of subduing it, and it came to me. What a hatred. What a resentment. He hastily protected Zhao Wu behind him. He would absolutely not let the colorful sky-swallowing python hurt Zhao Wu. So what if the dragon pattern and martial soul are exposed? He absolutely would not let Zhao Wu receive even the slightest harm. Seeing that the 5-colored sky-swallowing python was getting closer and closer to them, he clenched his palms tightly with a solemn expression. He was about to release his martial soul, ready to test how powerful his first soul skill was. If he didn't knock out the 5-colored sky-swallowing python with one pot, then he and Zhao Wu would definitely be swallowed by it in one gulp. But at this moment, the 5-colored sky-swallowing python that was about to approach them quickly backed away. The occurrence of this situation made Oscar smile happily, because he didn't need to reveal his martial spirit, and Zhao Wu would not be injured. And the reason why the 5-colored sky-swallowing python receded quickly was because Zhao Wuji made a move. How could Zhao Wuji here watch this colorful sky-swallowing python swallow Oscar and the others into his belly? when he saw the colorful sky swallowing python bypassing him and rushing towards Oscar and the others. He hastily stretched out his palms that were bigger than cattail fans and tightly grasped the tail of the colorful sky swallowing python. The colorful sky swallowing python was pulled back. The 5-colored heaven swallowing python was miserable enough. It obviously twisted to go to Oscar's side, but when it came back, it was straightened by Aozhou. Although the colorful sky swallowing python was pulled back by it, but it reacted quickly. It opened its bloody mouth to reveal sharp and pointed teeth and quickly bit Aozhou's body. And Aozhou quickly let go of its tail, using his first soul skill to quickly defend. The first soul skill, Fudoming King Body. Roar. Following Aozhou's loud roar, among the 7 spirit rings on his body, the first yellow spirit ring suddenly lit up. Intense golden light burst out in an instant, and these golden lights enveloped his huge body. The 5-colored sky swallowing python is indeed very powerful, and when Aozhou used his first soul skill, it was not disturbed at all. It opened its big mouth and bit Aozhou's body, but when it bit Aozhou with its big mouth, it was like biting into a rocky mountain. No matter how hard it tried, it couldn't bite in. Oscar looked at Aozhou enviously from behind. You see how handsome his defensive soul skill is? It emits a golden light. Then look at the God Eater shield attached to my tail root soul bone. It only protects the back, not to mention, it also exudes a forgiving light. Although it is an extra soul skill, can it be changed in color? It seems that there is time to communicate with the system. The colorful sky swallowing python didn't insist too much, but after biting Aozhou twice and finding that it couldn't get in, it quickly changed its strategy. I saw it using its huge body to quickly coil Aozhou. As for why it didn't swallow Aozhou, because it felt that Aozhou was too ugly and it didn't seem easy to digest. Now Aozhou is like a very thick and big pillar, and the 5-colored sky swallowing python is like a dragon carved on this pillar, coiled tightly around Aozhou's body. And although Aozhou used the first soul skill Fudoming King Body, but now he is restrained. Although Aozhou has a powerful Vajra Bear martial soul, which is stronger than ordinary soul masters, and the soul rings also increase defense and attack power, the defense and power of this colorful sky swallowing python are not bad. Moreover, the 5-colored sky swallowing python is now coiling him up. After the snake-like soul beast coils its prey, its power is several times greater than before, so no matter how much strength Aozhou exerts, he cannot break free from the 5-colored snake, the bondage of the swallowing python. But Aozhou didn't panic at all, because his true strength has not been used yet. He said with a look of disdain, "You little snake is quite strong. Your strength is even stronger than me. It seems that we have supper again. It should be very good to make snake soup, haha." After speaking, Aozhou licked the drool from the corner of his mouth again. His appearance completely enraged the colorful sky swallowing python, and saw that its saliva was splashing down on the letter it spit out. No, what kind of saliva is there? This is clearly the venom emitted. When Aozhou saw its saliva flowing down like a waterfall, he cried out inwardly. His Fudoming Wang body is only a century-old soul ring, which is good at defending against physical attacks, but it doesn't release poison. And this 5-colored sky swallowing python, as a 1000-year-old soul beast, must have a strong poison, and he must not be able to resist this poison. So he hastily used his soul skill before the 5-colored sky swallowing python bit him open. Third soul skill, increase gravity. The 5-colored sky swallowing python opened its mouth wide to bite him. Suddenly Aozhou released the increased gravity. Its body suddenly stopped, and Aozhou took advantage of this opportunity to quickly break free from his restraint. Aozhou swung his fist and punched the 5-colored sky swallowing python on the head and shouted angrily, "I'll let you beat me. I'll beat you to death. Ask for a recommendation ticket. Ask for a rating. The rating is too low now. Mention it. Just mention it." End of this chapter. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 40 to the powerful 5-color sky swallowing python. Aozhou's fist as big as a sandbag hit the head of the 5-colored sky swallowing python. The strength of his punch was particularly huge when his fist touched the head of the colorful sky-swallowing python. The colorful sky-swallowing python hissed in pain. Its huge body quickly flew towards the ground in the distance, splashing a large cloud of dust on the ground. The colorful swallowing python was directly sent flying by Xiao Wuji's punch, but because of the colorful and powerful scales on its body, it didn't suffer any serious injuries, but its colorful snake face, some are slightly swollen. Hey, big brother, look quickly. The face of this colorful sky-swallowing python has become fatter. It has become even cuter. Xiao Wu bouncingly pointed at the colorful sky-swallowing python. Yeah, but it just got fatter, Oscar said. Xiao Wu nodded her head and pouted her little mouth. Lost in thought, she whispered, "Big brother is right. It has a chubby face. It's really not cute enough." At this moment, she raised her head suddenly and shouted towards the sky with her big eyes shining brightly, "Uncle Chubby, you can make his face fat too. One of his faces is not cute enough. Both of his faces are chubby. It's cute." Oscar and Xiao Wuji blinked their eyes speechlessly. They had the same thought for the first time. "Xiao Wu, you are a devil." Xiao Wuji also had no choice but to nod in agreement with Xiao Wu's request, patted his chest and promised, "Okay, look at Uncle Chubby helping it put on cute makeup. Make it cute." The flying dust slowly drifted away with the night breeze, and the figure of the colorful sky-swallowing python was revealed again. It was punched by Xiao Wuji until its eyes stared like gold stars. After shaking its head vigorously a few times, it arched its body again and rushed towards Xiao Wuji's direction. Its speed this time is really extremely fast, and it is completely different from the previous speed. I saw that as soon as it still exerted force, its body was like a super strong spring, and it went straight towards Xiao Wuji. Just in the blink of an eye, it came to Xiao Wuji again. But this time it didn't wrap its body around Xiao Wuji as before, but directly released a green venom from its mouth and sprayed towards Xiao Wuji. Tui. Ahem. Of course it's not this voice. With a sound of the venom shot out from its mouth, and it didn't just shoot out this venom. Its mouth sprayed out venom continuously and shot at Xiao Wuji. Probably because of its huge size, it drools a lot, and its saliva shoots at Xiao Wuji as if it doesn't want money. Xiao Wuji didn't dare to be careless this time, because the venom of the 1,000-year-old soul beast was no joke. Even though he was a soul sage, he still chose to stay away from things like poison. He reacted quickly, staring hard at his legs, and quickly dodged to the left. And just as he stood up, another venom came after him, and he quickly dodged to the left. In this way, he kept dodging to the left in order to avoid the venom. As for why he didn't flash to the right, that's because the venom has just been sprayed on the right side. The green venom fell on the ground and gave off a thick poisonous gas. If he stepped on the venom, his shoes would be instantly eroded by the poisonous gas, and he would be poisoned in an instant. So he could only hide to the left. Just like this, he kept hiding to the left, and he was getting farther and farther away from Oscar and the others. Seeing that Xiao Wuji was getting farther and farther away from them, Oscar thought to himself, "No, this colorful sky-swallowing python is using another trick to divert the tiger away from the mountain, and its target is me and Xiao Wu." Just as he was about to open his mouth to remind Xiao Wuji, he discovered that Xiao Wuji had actually come back again. Xiao Wuji is actually not a fool, but he is very careful. He also found that he was getting farther and farther away from little Oscar and the others. He quickly understood that the 5-colored sky-swallowing python was using the venom it emitted to keep him away from Oscar and Xiao Wu, so that it would be very convenient for it to move. How could I be fooled by such a simple fool? He suddenly stopped hiding to the left, but suddenly dodged backwards. The venom sprayed by the 5-colored sky-swallowing python just brushed the corner of his clothes, and the corner of his clothes was eroded by the venom in just an instant. This caused a trace of cold sweat to break out on his face. Fortunately, he didn't dodge to the back before, otherwise he would definitely be sprayed by the venom of the 5-colored sky-swallowing python. Because his spirit rings are mainly for defense and attack, and speed is precisely his weakness, so his speed of hiding behind is a bit slower than that of going to the left. But don't underestimate this DIU. This DIU may be stuck to the body by venom. This is absolutely not to be ignored. After dodging the venom, he quickly accelerated and ran back. The colorful sky-swallowing python found out that the human had seen through his plan. It no longer cared about Aozhou, but rushed towards Oscar and the others. And because Aozhou was moved away from the mountain by the tiger before, but it has not moved because of the long-range attack, so it is very close to Oscar and Aozhou. Aozhou immediately became anxious and shouted loudly, "The fourth soul skill, location tracking." After Aozhou used the fourth soul skill, his speed was more than doubled, and he stopped the advance of the five-colored sky-swallowing python again. The five-colored heaven-swallowing python is also enraged by Aozhou in front of him. This small human being has blocked my direction again and again. It is really a snake that can bear it, but a python can't bear it. This time its cry was much more domineering than before. Its roar plunged the entire soul-hunting forest into chaos. All the soul beasts in the forest shouted loudly, but their voices were exceptionally low, as if paying homage to their king. After the five-colored sky-swallowing python roared again, it changed rapidly. I saw the two cute little horns on its head growing rapidly. It's just that it turned into two huge antlers in an instant, and its body became several times larger, and the colorful light emitted from its body illuminated the entire forest. The cry of the five-colored sky-swallowing python made the hunters of the soul beasts in the hunting forest tremble with fright, and all their eyes turned to this side. But they couldn't see anything at all, because the hunting soul forest was too big and the trees were too tall. They could only see a dense forest. And because of the arrival of the five-colored sky-swallowing python, the nearby soul beasts also ran away in fright, and the soul master who hunted the soul beasts was also frightened by these soul beasts, and fled in a hurry. There was no one around, so there was no one there. Seeing the appearance of the five-colored sky-swallowing python, Aozhou looked up at the five-colored sky-swallowing python, that suddenly became so big, and suddenly spit out a sweet sentence from his mouth. "Fuck, ask for a recommendation ticket." End of this chapter. Chapter 43. Don 039. T be afraid, I'm here. It's no wonder that Aozhou's mouth is full of fragrance. It's because the five-colored sky-swallowing python has changed so much. Although it is not a 10,000-year soul beast, its strength is almost the same. It turns out that it has been hiding its strength, but I don't know why it hides its strength. Aozhou was very surprised. He was surprised that the five-colored sky-swallowing python was so powerful before it changed into this huge shape. Its strength will definitely increase exponentially after the change. Its strength should be about the same as mine. He now feels that things are a little tricky, and Oscar behind him is even more uncomfortable. He originally thought that the mission issued by the system was a 1,000-year soul beast. What does this mean now? Who can tell me why the 1,000-year-old soul beast can compete with Aozhou? Although Aozhou wanted to play before, what about now? Now that the colorful sky-swallowing python has grown horns, its strength must have doubled. Even a lazy snake with horns on it can turn the world upside down, not to mention this multicolored sky-swallowing python. It's such a powerful soul beast. How the hell can I accept it as a beast pet? This is a soul beast that even few doming Wang Aozhou finds it difficult. Just now, the soul sage Aozhou used soul skills to deal with it one after another. It is not an exaggeration to say that its strength is comparable to a 10,000-year soul beast. And after its transformation this time, its strength will definitely be stronger than ordinary 10,000-year soul beasts. Not to mention me, even Aozhou would have a hard time defeating it. What made Oscar curious was why there is such a powerful soul beast in this hunting forest. Isn't the hunting soul forest a place where the Wuhan Palace and the Empire raise spirit beasts together? What happened to the appearance of such a five-colored sky-swallowing python whose strength is comparable to that of a 10,000-year soul beast? And from what Aozhou said, its strength shouldn't be too strong. And what about those two horns on its head? Could it be that it has been hiding its strength? If this is the case, why is it exposed today? It changes into a colorful sky-swallowing python with antlers on its head. It gives people a different aura and makes people feel like a high-ranking person. After the transformation, it looked at Aozhou with contempt, and after angrily roared, it attacked Aozhou again. This time it didn't continue to use its venom, but simply and roughly used all its strength to hit Aozhou with its antlers. I saw it curling its tail, still rushing towards Zhao Walqi in a spring shape, and the two horns on its head also emitted purple light. Zhao Walqi didn't dodge this time, because if he dodged, Oscar and Zhao Wu behind him would be attacked by it. So he finally got serious this time, and with a loud roar, he directly used its 7th soul skill, Wuhan Avatar. After using the Spirit Avatar again, he didn't stop, but used his 5th soul skill again, Gravity Squeeze. And this time the colorful python was indeed squeezed by him, and the huge face was indeed squeezed, and after it was released, it became fat again. If it wasn't for fighting with soul skills, those who didn't know would think they were pulling snakes. Although the 5-colored sky-swallowing python withstood this blow, it didn't stop at all, but continued to hit Zhao Wuji. The two horns emitting purple light were about to touch Zhao Walqi's body. Zhao Wuji hurriedly used the soul ability again, but this time he actually used two soul abilities directly. The first soul skill, Fudo King Shield. Second soul skill, Vigorous Vajra Palm. The huge horn of the 5-colored sky-swallowing python hit Zhao Wuji's body, and his immovable king shield shattered in an instant, and at this moment, Zhao Walqi's palm just hit the horn of the 5-colored sky-swallowing python. His soul skill attack really worked. A huge antler on the head of the colorful sky-swallowing python was broken by his palm, and a lot of blood flowed from the huge head. Zhao Wuji was using soul skills one after another, and his soul power was already extremely scarce, but he broke off one horn of the colorful sky-swallowing python, but its castration remained undiminished, and its huge head hit firmly on Zhao Wuji's body. After the change, the 5-colored sky-swallowing python became too powerful. Even though Fudoming King Shield blocked most of the strength, the remaining strength was enough to push him away. Sure enough, Zhao Wuji was sent flying by the colorful sky-swallowing python in an instant, and flew very far, directly slipped in the sky, and disappeared in the distant woods. Zhao Wuji, the majestic and immovable king of Ming Dynasty, was actually sent flying by a 1,000-year-old soul beast, and fell like a meteor. Although Zhao Walqi was jacked up, his injuries were not serious, because most of his strength was dissipated by Fudoming Wangdan, so he was still able to yell when he was jacked up. Damn it. It's hard to defend. You wait for me, I will come back. Zhao Oscar, Zhao Wu, you two, run, and I will be back in 2 minutes. The corners of Oscar and Zhao Wu's mouths twitched at the same time, thinking, that's it? Aren't you a battle soul saint? Can't even defeat a 1,000-year-old soul beast? I'm afraid you're kidding me. Run. Run a fart. Wait a leg. Leaving the two of us here is not enough for this colorful sky-swallowing python to get stuck between its teeth. Zhao Wu, don't be afraid. I'm here, Oscar said while protecting Zhao Wu behind him. Zhao Wu nodded and said, yes. With Big Brother here, Zhao Wu is not afraid. This time, Oscar unleashed his dragon-marked martial soul without any hesitation. A silver-white frying pan suddenly appeared in his hand. After the pan appeared, it shone with a silver-white light at night. The light was extraordinarily dazzling, even brighter than the moon in the sky. Holding a frying pan in his hand, he looked up at the 5-colored sky-swallowing python apprehensively. The colorful swallowing python is really miserable now. The original two horns have become one. A lot of blood is still flowing from the head, and the faces on both sides have become chubby, and the color of his skin is really he looked like he had been beaten up with a bruised nose and a swollen face. But it was beaten like this by Zhao Walqi, and it didn't faint, and it was also very energetic. I saw its ruby-like eyes staring at the ground below. As soon as it spat out the letter in its mouth, saliva came out of its mouth. Oscar firmly believed that what he was bleeding was saliva, because it was white liquid this time. When Oscar saw that the colorful swallowing python drooled at them, he was really furious. I always drool over the dishes, and no one ever drools over the dishes. How about you, the colorful sky swallowing python? So what if you are my mission? If I want to shoot you, I will shoot you. Lao Tzu's first soul skill is still unknown. Just practice your hands with this little snake. At this moment, I will let you know that people or beasts who dare to drool at me, except that she is a beautiful girl or turns into a beautiful girl, the rest will be served in a frying pan. Oscar closed his eyes at this moment, fully feeling the rhythm of his soul power in his body. He held the dragon patterned pan in his hand and pointed to the huge colorful sky swallowing python in front of him. Ask for a recommendation ticket. 2 more. End of this chapter. Chapter 44. The first soul skill. Dragon pattern. Shaking the sky. I saw a dazzling golden light suddenly emanating from Oscar's body, and a golden soul ring rose from under his feet, circling around his body. This golden soul ring is exactly the god-bestowed soul ring attached to his dragon tattoo. He closed his eyes and let the soul power in his body flow to the dragon pattern grid in his hand, and the dragon grain grid suddenly became bigger. The diameter of the body of the dragon patterned cauldron can be as large as 1 meter, which is very large for Oscar. The way it holds this frying pan now is really funny. He is only about 1 meter tall, but the dragon patterned pan in his hand is about 1 meter in size. Fortunately, he was holding the dragon patterned raster vertically. If it was placed horizontally in front of him, he would definitely be invisible. Now it can no longer be said that he is holding the dragon patterned pan. Because of his height, the dragon patterned pan has already stood on the ground, and he is just holding the handle of the pot. Oscar's eyes opened suddenly, and he saw a golden light shining in his eyes. His hands were tightly holding the dragon pattern. Somehow, his small arms had so much strength, and he actually lifted the dragon pattern up. And at this moment, Xiao Wuji was running towards this side in the distance. The 5-colored heaven swallowing python had just been beaten by Xiao Wuji. Before he could recover, he saw a little guy holding a broken thing, shaking around in front of it, and it was very dazzling. This made it very angry, but because it was severely beaten by Xiao Wuji, it quickly returned to its original appearance, and it was a circle smaller than before. After shrinking, the blood on its head disappeared, and the horn that was broken by Xiao Wuji just now seemed to grow back, and a sharp horn emerged from the wounded place. Although it has become smaller, its current body is still huge for Oscar. Its body can be as long as 10 meters, and its head can be as big as 2 meters. After it became smaller, it opened its mouth angrily and rushed in front of Oscar and the others. It was going to act like swallowing 2 children in one bite. Its rushing action just met Oscar's intention. Because his current body is too small, it is already his limit to make this pot so big. It is completely unrealistic for him to make the pot so big that he wants to run or jump up with it. Originally, he planned to use the first soul skill he just experienced to throw a flying pot, just like the game of Chuck Chuck he played in his previous life, Beopang, randomly knocking down a lucky spectator. Of course, this is just a dream of his playing the game with his skills. Others have always beaten him. Therefore, he has a high chance of playing the flying pot, and he will not be able to beat this colorful sky swallowing python. Although the target of this colorful sky swallowing python is huge, it is very sensitive. Especially what Oscar wants to hit is not its body, but its protruding red eyes. The layer of scales on this 5-colored sky swallowing python is really too strong. Even if Xiao Wuji used soul skills to hit it one after another, it would only swell its face. Oscar was not so foolish as to think that with this god-bestowed spirit ring, he would be even more powerful than Xiao Wuji, the soul sage, who could kill the 5-colored sky swallowing python with one blow. So when he observed Xiao Wuji's fight with it, he noticed that its eyes were its weakness. As for hitting a snake, and hitting 7 inches, it is even more unrealistic. Please pay attention to such a huge and thick python. You can just hit it with a 7-inch diameter. Do not make jokes. It was that little Sana, when he obtained the first soul ring, he killed that little snake named Mandala, not to mention the 5-colored sky swallowing python, or 1,000-year-old soul beast. So he still decided that he had to hit the eyes of the 5-colored sky swallowing python with one blow in order to completely injure it. But it's really too difficult for him to hit its eyes with a flying pot. He can't jump up with a dragon pattern, and he is also very sure that he is not a good pot thrower. He doesn't care much about it big grasp. But now it was completely different. The colorful sky swallowing python was delivered to the door by itself, which made Oscar feel ecstatic in his heart. The corners of his mouth were slightly raised, and the big mouth of the colorful sky swallowing python had come to him. He hurriedly kicked the barbecue that they hadn't finished before into the mouth of the colorful sky swallowing python. Because their barbecue was grilled with sticks on it, and the sticks were just stuck on both sides of its mouth. The moment the colorful swallowing python felt the meat in its mouth, it quickly closed its big mouth. and Oscar also seized the opportunity, forcefully lifted the dragon pattern to the right side of his body, and patted the protruding eyes on the left side of the 5-colored sky-swallowing python with all his strength. And at this moment, Xiao Wuji is rushing towards this side. Oscar waved the dragon pattern rake, and his immature voice yelled, "The first soul skill, dragon pattern shaking the sky." With a sound of pang, the body of the dragon pattern pot accurately slapped the protruding eyes of the colorful swallowing python. The 5-colored sky swallowing python roared in pain and rolled violently. Oscar hastily retracted the dragon pattern and ran away with Xiao Wu. The eyes of the multicolored sky swallowing python were indeed its weakness. After its eyes were shot by Oscar, it now looks like a fish out of the water, violently churning, kicking up a large cloud of dust on the ground, which covered the sky and the sun. With the non-stop screams of the 5-color swallowing python, the heart of Xiao Wuji, who was rushing here in the distance, finally fell to the ground. The reason why he felt at ease was because it was only 10 seconds before he was thrown into the distant forest. During these 10 seconds, the 5-colored sky swallowing python must have been unable to bear the pain caused by his beating, so it screamed violently, so little Oscar and Xiao Wu must not be in danger. It's no wonder that he thought so, because the interval is too short, and it's impossible for the colorful sky swallowing python to be beaten by someone again in such a short period of time. Xiao Wuji lacks soul power now, so he had to use his physical strength to rush back quickly. He flew here really fast, but the time to go back is slow. When Xiao Wuji was rushing back with all his strength at 180 steps, Oscar and Xiao Wu also hid in the forest, secretly watching the colorful sky swallowing python jumping up and down and rolling. "Big brother, you seem to hurt it too much. You can see it danced. How about big brother, help it relieve the pain, and kill it?" Xiao Wu's lovely voice was heard by Oscar, and it rang in my ears. "Big brother thinks it's better not to kill it. Look at how cute it is alive and kicking," Oscar said with a twitch of his mouth. Xiao Wu hugged Oscar's arm tightly with her left hand, pointed at the colorful python with her right hand and said, "Brother, look at it hurting like this, and even use its tongue to lick that piece of barbecue. What a greedy snake." Oscar said to Xiao Wu, "Xiao Wu, the python's tongue sticks out like this." Oscar's voice fell silent, and a fragrant word of doubt suddenly came out of his mouth. "Fuck. Begging for a recommendation ticket." End of this chapter. Chapter 45. Dark Pet Rations. Oscar's face turned pale with shock. His peach eyes were as big as copper bells. He couldn't believe the scene in front of him, because what he saw was exactly as Xiao Wu said. The colorful sky swallowing python didn't even bark, nor rolled over. It was opening its mouth wide, stretching and licking with its tongue, with the barbecue stuck in its mouth. As for why it is said to be licking, instead of stretching and stretching the python's tongue like Oscar said before, this is because the tongue of this colorful swallowing python is now licking the piece of barbecue in a curved shape. It originally drools a lot, but now because it keeps opening its mouth to lick the piece of barbecue, it also makes its saliva more and more. The saliva gathers in its mouth, forming an overflowing state, and as its letter moves, its saliva will flow down its big mouth to the ground. As soon as it licks, the water comes out. Oscar was stunned by this scene. This colorful sky swallowing python could not be the reincarnation of the greedy snake. Its eyes were bleeding from his pot, and it was already injured like this, but it was still licking the food in its mouth, enduring the pain. It was a 1,000-year-old soul beast. How could this scene not surprise Oscar? Oscar suddenly thought, this greedy snake didn't come here for the barbecue next to him from the very beginning. Otherwise, it wouldn't rush towards me and Xiao Wu again and again. After all, we are just tender meat to it. And Xiao Wu, and I didn't beat it like Xiao Wuji, so it wouldn't be so ruthless to us. So in the beginning we misunderstood it. It is just like Xiao Wuji, who loves to eat. Instead of getting a meal, he was beaten up. It seems that it is better not to take food lightly. Oscar was thinking of this, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. It seemed that he still had a chance to complete his beast pet mission. No wonder when the system released the task, it emphasized that he should do everything possible. It turned out that this multicolored sky swallowing python is a greedy snake. Oscar said softly to Xiao Wu at the side, "Xiao Wu, you wait here for me. I will come whenever I go." Xiao Wu blinked her big eyes and asked, "Big brother? You? Doesn't Xiaowu like its cute appearance? Big brother, go make it more cute. Xiaowu, Oscar said, kissing Xiaowu's forehead lightly. Xiaowu's eyes were firm, and she said pitifully, Xiaowu refuses to follow. Xiaowu wants to go with big brother. Oscar shook his head and said, little Wu, you can rest assured that big brother will definitely bring you back a cute little snake. After finishing speaking, he quickly ran to the vicinity of the 5-colored sky-swallowing python and hurriedly searched for the remaining barbecue meat. Because of the tumbling of the colorful sky-swallowing python, almost all the original barbecue was worn out, and Oscar only found a piece. However, being able to find this piece made Oscar very happy, and he decided to make a pet ration for his prepared pet. He first released the martial soul dragon pattern pot, then took out the seasoning left over from the previous barbecue in his arms, and poured it into the pot, and then took out a carrot that he had been preparing all along. He bit it into pieces, and mixed it with the seasoning, and finally fell on the barbecue that was just found full of sand. In this way, a rich ration of dark animal pets was completed. He quickly put away the dragon pattern griddle because he was afraid that Xiaowuji would come back suddenly and find him. After he was done, he shouted loudly to the colorful python, hey, little Kaylin, greedy for snakes. There are delicious things here, come and eat them. Under his immature yelling, the colorful sky-swallowing python looked at him with the remaining eye while licking the roast meat in its mouth. After the colorful swallowing python found out that it was still this little guy, it decided not to be fooled by this little guy again. Just as it was about to turn its head away, it suddenly smelled a scent. The source of this scent was the little one's feet. It discovered that there was a piece of meat without a stick in front of the little one. And it smelled even better than the licking in my mouth. It was not calm anymore. It didn't matter if there was a trap or not. He was not fooled. He just spit out the piece in his mouth and rushed to the piece of barbecue under Oscar's feet. At this time, Xiaowuji was running with all his strength. This time it was very peaceful that no one came to stop the colorful python. Its big head looked around in disbelief, and after finding that there was really no trap, it put its face in front of Oscar. At that time, its face was only centimeters away from me. I was really not afraid at that time because it was very cute and cute. The above passage was what Oscar would brag to other people in the future, but his expression now is exactly the opposite of what he said. Oscar's small face has become very pale now, and both calves are trembling a little. He is really afraid that this colorful swallowing python will take revenge and suddenly let him see if its teeth are white. Now he is betting again, betting that the system will not cheat him, betting that the 5-colored sky-swallowing python is greedy for snakes and will not hurt him. And Xiaowu, who was hiding in the forest, also ran out worriedly. Oscar quickly stretched out his hand to signal her to go back. He will be fine. Oscar was indeed betting right. The head of the colorful swallowing python stopped in front of Oscar. It just glanced at Oscar curiously. That means I will let you go if you don't take the pot. It's more important to eat delicious food than ignore him. The 5-color swallowing python may be because it has been licked too much just now, or it may be because licking can feel the taste more perfectly. It didn't open its mouth to swallow this piece of barbecue this time, but just licked it in front of Oscar. Cheap. The sound of Kyle made Oscar very excited because he is very confident in the dark animal pet rations he made. He made it with the dragon pattern griddle, an artifact, and he will definitely subdue this colorful sky-swallowing python. However, the development of things is always unexpected. Xiaowuji, who ran hard at 180 miles, finally came back at this time. When he rushed out of the forest, he saw Xiaowu standing in the open space over there, but Oscar was nowhere to be seen. Before he had time to ask Xiaowu, he hurriedly looked around. What's funny is that the angle he came out of the forest was very tricky, so tricky that he saw the colorful python licking Oscar with its tongue. This made him anxious, and he shouted, "Little snake, let go of that boy." While he was shouting, he quickly rushed towards the 5-colored sky-swallowing python. The colorful swallowing python didn't take care of him and was still concentrating on licking its rations. Oscar was startled by Xiaowuji's yelling. He thought to himself, is this old Xiao sick? If you don't come back early, if you don't come back later, do you have to come back at this time? Didn't you see that the 5-colored sky swallowing python is honest? Are you calling wool? In the blink of an eye, Aozhou came to the side of the 5-colored sky swallowing python. He raised his fist and was about to hit it again. Ask for a recommendation ticket. End of this chapter. Chapter 46 Beast Pet Task completed. Oscar saw that it was okay. Aozhou really wanted to punch him down. Then everything he did before was in vain. How could he just helplessly see the task he was about to complete was ruined by Aozhou! Exclamation mark. He hurriedly shouted, "Uncle Fat, I'm fine. He's eating the barbecue I made." What? Hearing what Oscar said, Aozhou hurriedly stopped and looked at Oscar suspiciously again. This time he came to take a closer look, didn't he? This colorful python is really licking the barbecue in front of Oscar. Aozhou was completely stunned. His big eyes were full of doubts. What's going on? Can anyone tell me what happened while I was away? Why did this colorful sky swallowing python turn into this greedy look? This is completely two extremes from the way he fought before, not to mention the way the multicolored sky swallowing python licks barbecue. It's really cute. Aozhou became quiet and he let go of the hanging heart just now. He came to Oscar's side and said, Oscar, Wu, what's going on?" Because of Aozhou's return, Wu came to Oscar's side again, stretched out her arms, and hugged him tightly. Her eyes were a little moist and she said, "Big brother, you scared Wu to death just now." Oscar stroked Wu's beautiful hair with his hands and said lovingly, "Big brother, I'm fine. Look at how obedient this colorful python is." Aozhou narrowed his eyes and thought, "Can't you two answer my question first?" Oscar looked at Aozhou's look of resentful woman beside him a little funny, and he replied, "Uncle Fat, after you flew away gracefully, the colorful swallowing python started tossing painfully, and when it was tossing, happened to have a piece of barbecue that we ate before, and it just happened to get stuck in its mouth. Then it started to lick it honestly. Later, I saw that it was struggling to eat, so I found another piece of barbecue and sprinkled some seasoning on it. You have seen what happened afterwards. Look at how delicious it is now." Aozhou nodded, looking at the gluttonous appearance of the 5-colored sky swallowing python licking and licking the barbecue. He was sure that what Oscar said was true, but now he feels a little scared because this kid is so courageous. He even dares to make another piece for him to eat. Isn't he afraid that the 5-colored sky swallowing python will eat him as a barbecue? He hurriedly patted his chest in fear and said, "My little ancestor, don't take such risks next time. This 5-colored sky swallowing python is a 1,000-year-old soul beast, and its strength is stronger than ordinary 10,000-year soul beasts. Now he happens to be eating seriously. Let's get out of here as soon as possible." Wu also nodded at the side and said, "Big brother, let's go." Aozhou stretched out his big hand and was about to pull Oscar away, but unexpectedly, Oscar shook his head at him and said, "I won't leave. I still want him to be my beast pet." After Aozhou heard Oscar's words, he seemed to be frozen. He showed a kind smile and said, "Little Oscar, tell Uncle Fatty again. What did you just say?" "I said I wanted to be my animal pet," Oscar said firmly. Both Aozhou and Wu looked at him in disbelief. Aozhou's mouth trembled even more. He almost fainted from anger. He swallowed a mouthful of saliva and said excitedly like a machine gun, "I'm a little ancestor. Did you not understand what I said? It is a 5-colored sky swallowing python whose strength can rival 10,000-year-old soul beasts. You still want to accept it as a pet? Don't say it was you who accepted it as a beast pet. Even I would absolutely not be able to. Even if I want to accept a 10-year soul beast emerald chicken as a beast pet, it is extremely difficult, let alone this a 5-colored sky swallowing python. Little ancestor, what do you think of me? You want to take me in as a beast pet? I think I'm more suitable than him. Little ancestor, let's go." "Okay. Fat uncle, please." Aozhou's expression changed rapidly from excited to bewildered, and then to being cute. Now he just wants to take Oscar and the others out of here quickly. Because this colorful sky swallowing python is too dangerous. Even with all his strength, he still can't knock it out, and it can still enjoy delicious food here after being injured. Revenge. His current soul power is very scarce, and if he continues to fight, He will definitely not be the opponent of the colorful sky-swallowing python, so they must leave now. Zhao Walqi thought. What he said was very clear. Oscar would definitely leave with him after listening to his explanation. But Oscar's next actions made him regret why he had to talk nonsense with him just now. Wouldn't it be better to just force him away? Oscar's movements are like this. He stretched out his little hand and gently stroked the head of the 5-colored sky-swallowing python. He still said cutely, "Little Kaylin, who is greedy for snakes, can you be my animal pet? As long as you are my animal pet, I will cook delicious food for you every day from now on." Fuck, Zhao Walqi said in surprise with his eyes wide open. This isn't something that can be described as bold anymore. It definitely has to be described as Baoshan to describe his current performance. Zhao Wuji didn't have time to think about it. He grabbed Oscar and Zhao Wu's hands and ran into the forest. But he hadn't waited for him to take 2 steps. The snake tail of the 5-colored sky-swallowing python circled in front of them, blocking their progress. "Uncle Chubby, let go of my hand. Little Kaylin won't hurt us." Oscar struggled and shouted. Zhao Wuji held Oscar's hand tightly and said, "No, I will never let go of your hand." Zhao Wuji saw the tail of the snake in front of him blocking them. He quickly ran to the other side. Seeing Zhao Walqi's persistence, Oscar had no choice but to shout, "Little Kaylin, if you promise to be my beast pet, you just nod." After hearing his shout, the colorful sky-swallowing python actually stopped licking the barbecue and nodded towards Oscar. Ding. Congratulations to the host for completing the task of accepting the Tunshan python as a beast pet. Congratulations to the host for getting the task reward. Animal pet space, 10 bags of animal pet ration seasoning. Oi. Oscar showed a joyful smile. His efforts were finally not in vain. It's just that the current situation is still a bit beyond his expectation, because Zhao Wuji saw that he didn't want to run, so he directly carried him and Zhao Wu on the shoulders, and he was about to run into the forest. Oscar hastily patted Zhao Walqi's back excitedly with his small hands and shouted, "Look, Uncle Fat." It nodded. "Stop lying to me. It can really agree to be your beast pet? I don't believe it." Zhao Walqi continued running without even turning his head. Nima, please recommend tickets. End of this chapter. Chapter 47. Seeing that Zhao Walqi didn't believe what he said, Oscar felt very helpless in his heart. "I said that." The 5-colored sky-swallowing python nodded, "but you didn't even turn your head. Can you turn around to confirm that you can die?" If Zhao Walqi knew what he was thinking, he would definitely reply him with one word, "Yes. Even if I don't die, I have to shed a layer of skin. Hey. Oscar could only pin his hopes on Zhao Wu now, otherwise he would have to communicate with Zhao Kaylin to chase them, which would cause unpredictable consequences. Zhao Wu was also supported by Zhao Wuji's shoulders, and she also saw the 5-colored sky-swallowing python nodding towards them just now. She saw that after Oscar finished speaking, Zhao Walqi didn't believe him. She hastily used her pair of small hands to pat Zhao Walqi one after another. Zhao Wu shouted anxiously, "Uncle Chubby, big brother didn't lie to you. Little Kaylin is really nodding. You should look back." When Zhao Wuji heard Zhao Wu's words, he looked back suspiciously. He turned his head and saw the 5-colored sky-swallowing python nodding there. He stepped on the brake hastily, staring at the scene in front of him with dull eyes. This scene made him completely unbelievable. This 5-colored sky-swallowing python is a soul beast with similar strength to his. Is it so simple to be seduced by food and become a pet? It's too embarrassing for the soul beast. Zhao Walqi is also a crow standing on a wild boar. He laughs at other people's blackness, but he can't see himself black. As a strong man in the Soul Sage realm, in order to eat the food made by Oscar, he did not want Billion to plunder him several times. He didn't even feel that he had embarrassed the strong man in the Soul Sage realm. Zhao Wuji's eyes are dull now. His eyes are staring straight at the 5-colored sky-swallowing python. He just doesn't care about Oscar and Zhao Wu on his shoulders. He naturally let go of his palm, rubbed his eyes with his big hand, and reconfirmed whether the scene in front of him was real. Oscar and Zhao Wu, who were let go by him, slipped directly on his shoulders. Fortunately, their bodies were very light, and both feet landed on the ground. After Oscar landed on the ground, he asked Zhao Wu beside him anxiously, "Zhao Wu, are you alright?" Big brother, don't worry, Xiao Wu is fine. Xiao Wu said, shaking her head. That's good. Oscar came in front of Xiao Walqi, pointed his little finger at Xiao Walqi and complained, Uncle Chubby, just ignore me falling to the ground. How can you ignore Xiao Wu? At this time, Xiao Walqi was still immersed in the scene of the 5-colored sky swallowing python nodding and bowing. He didn't catch what Oscar said at all. After hearing Oscar's words, he lowered his head and said perfunctorily, yes, little Oscar, you are right. Oscar was speechless. Why don't you say that big brother is right? From this point of view, he just didn't hear what I was saying. He was just perfunctory me. You are perfunctory to me now. Then I must let you, old Xiao, know why the flowers are so bright and why the gold soul coins are so precious. Oscar didn't care about Xiao Walqi, but shouted at the colorful swallowing python, little Kaylin, come quickly. The 5-colored sky swallowing python heard its master calling it, quickly picked up the piece of barbecue, and came to Oscar. Its tail swayed violently like a rattlesnake, making people feel flattered and flattered. Oscar looked at such a big snake in front of him flattering him, but he couldn't feel its cuteness no matter what. Of course, Xiao Wu on the side is another matter. Xiao Wu was looking at the colorful swallowing python happily. She shook Oscar's arm and said coquettishly, hey, big brother, look at it wagging its tail. Silly, really cute. Oscar affectionately scraped Xiao Wu's little nose with his hand and said, silly girl, it's as cute as my Xiao Wu. Hehe, Xiao Wu belongs to the elder brother's family. Xiao Wu whispered as she leaned against Oscar's arm with her powdery face. Little Kaylin, eat the barbecue in your mouth quickly, and I'll make better ones for you when we get home. Oscar said to the colorful sky swallowing python. Gudong. After Oscar finished speaking, little Kaylin swallowed the piece of barbecue in one gulp, because she understood that there are even more delicious ones. Xiao Wuji also came back to his senses at this time. He quickly digested the fact that little Oscar had a 1,000-year-old beast. He now feels that the kid Oscar has become a little scary. When he was only 4 years old, he already had a 1,000-year-old beast as his pet, and this soul beast was stronger than ordinary 10,000-year-old beasts. That is to say, with his colorful sky swallowing python, he can even break me. Wouldn't it be even more difficult for me in the days to come? At the very least, I will have to pay for my meals in the future, my poor copper soul coins and silver soul coins. Of course he will add my poor golden soul coins in the future. Xiao Walqi was thinking that Oscar had such a powerful partner, which made him very envious. Because of his envy, he raised his head to look at the 5-colored sky swallowing python, and suddenly found that there was something wrong with the appearance of this 5-colored sky swallowing python. I saw that the horn that was interrupted by myself before has grown a sharp point, and it seems that I didn't hit its left eye. Why is its left eye swollen? He curiously asked Oscar beside him. Little Oscar, I remember I didn't hit its eyes. Why are their eyes swollen? Oscar hurriedly looked at Xiao Wuji with cute eyes and said, Uncle Chubby, you must have misremembered. How could Xiao Kaylin's eyes be swollen for no reason? Maybe you hit the part next to it, and the swollen flesh has shifted. Xiao Kaylin is also looking at Xiao Walqi with hatred and cooperation. The meaning in her eyes is obvious. You beat me, and you still refuse to admit it after beating me. Xiao Walqi thought it was the same thing. Sometimes when he hit someone, the blood clots swollen by the enemy would also shift. He was very guilty of being stared at by Xiao Kaylin's hateful eyes, and now he was very afraid that Xiao Kaylin would suddenly retaliate against him. Xiao Walqi unnaturally clenched his fists to his mouth and coughed, and said to Oscar, well, this colorfuler. When Xiao Walqi uttered 5 characters, Oscar and Xiao Wu stared at him with sharp eyes, which made his next word swallowed hard. He quickly changed his words and said, this little colorful scale was able to get bigger before, so can it also get smaller? We are going home soon, and we can't take one as big as it. Oscar nodded. Xiao Walqi was right. If they really brought such a big one home, they would definitely not even be able to get out of the hunting forest. Although he now has the beast pet space, but Xiao Wuji is watching here. He can't make Xiao Kaylin disappear out of thin air. So he still asked Xiao Kaylin, little Kaylin, can you become smaller? It's best to hide it in my trouser pocket. Ask for a recommendation ticket. Ask for a recommendation ticket. Remember, don't forget. End of this chapter. Chapter 48. Good morning, Xiao. Little Kaylin nodded towards Oscar, and then it quickly became smaller like a wishful golden cudgel. Now the little colored scales are really too small, not only extremely small, but also extremely thin, about 3 centimeters in thickness and 18 centimeters in length. It is crawling on the ground for some reason. The little one is very cute. Oscar looked at the little Kaylin, which was still a huge monster just now, and turned into this little earthworm, feeling very miraculous. It's a good thing that little Kaylin can become so small, otherwise he wouldn't be able to take it out of the hunting soul forest. Oscar was just about to pick it up, but Xiao beside it was faster than him, and Xiao held up the little colorful scale with both hands dancing happily. Her big eyes were full of affection, and her small mouth teased Kaylin and said, "Little Kaylin, you are so cute. You are cuter than Xiao." Little Kaylin shook its 3 centimeter head very cutely, saying that I'm not as cute as you. Oscar watched Xiao doting on Kaylin and said, "Xiao, if you like Kaylin, then let him follow you." Xiao quickly nodded and said happily, "Okay, okay." Kaylin was also very obedient and didn't struggle, and honestly curled up in Xiao's hand. But this only lasted for a while, because Xiao is also related to a soul beast, and it is also very close to Xiao, and gradually became familiar with it. Seeing Kaylin get into Xiao's clothes and run around, this made Xiao itchy. She begged for mercy. Ha ha ha, Kaylin, you made me itchy. Ha ha ha. Oscar's face darkened in an instant, and he thought to himself, what I haven't got yet, you, as my pet, got it first. If it weren't for the fact that you are a mother, I would have shot you to death, and then made you. It is impossible to make snake soup. Ha ha ha, big brother, Xiao is so itchy, come and save Xiao. Xiao's cry sounded. Oscar's expression burst into laughter again in an instant, like a blooming flower, because he finally found a chance to dig inside, and now he can't wait to kiss little Kaylin. This beast pet is still useful. It seems that I will teach it to play more in the future. Hey Xiao is not in a hurry, big brother is here. Hey they were playing around on one side, while Xiao on the other side seemed to have been acupunctured, stuck in place motionless. His expression was very surprised. His eyes were wide open like glass balls, and his mouth was open enough to fit a piece of paper into it. Hot dog buns. When Xiao saw the 5-colored sky swallowing python change from a big colored scale to a small colored scale, he kept this posture motionless. He was wondering, when did this colorful sky swallowing python have the function of being bigger and smaller? It's not a martial soul, but it also has become bigger and smaller. This swallowing python is definitely mutated, or it is a hybrid. Colorful sky swallowing python, you are a bastard. You are so big, but so short. It is definitely the product of the combination of Douluo Dalu and Pan Yunlian. It must be abnormal, otherwise how did the antlers on its head come from? Could it be a deer and a snake? It doesn't seem to match. While he was thinking wildly, Oscar and the others were also tired from playing. They had been tossing around for more than half the night, and they were already hungry. Oscar came to his side, tugged at the corner of his clothes and said, "Uncle Fat? Uncle Fat?" Xiao was interrupted by Oscar, looked down at Oscar, and replied in confusion. Huh. Oscar said pitifully, "Uncle Chubby, are you hungry?" Hungry. Xiao nodded vigorously. "Then why don't you take out the rest of the meat? I'm ready to do it." "You don't have any, do you?" Oscar said aggrievedly. Xiao hastily took out a few pieces of meat from his belt and said, "So I want meat. I don't have anything else in my little black snake's belt. If you say it's full of meat, don't talk about these 2 meals, just eat it again. 20 meals is more than enough." After taking out a few more pieces of meat, he sighed and said, "Hey, you are too young now, and have no soul power, otherwise I will bring this little black snake to you, saving me from doing it. I'll give you this little black snake when you're older, and I'll make the most of it, and we don't need to wrap it up when we go out for a picnic." Oscar's eyes widened when he heard this, and he hurriedly asked Xiao, "Uncle Chubby, you said you would bring me the little black snake belt, but are you serious?" Xiao raised his head high and said arrogantly, "Bullshit. Xiao is a majestic king of few doming. I always follow my words and do what I say. How can I deceive you, a brat? Uncle Chubby, if you really give me your little black snake, I will waive your meal money, Oscar said seriously with a small face. Xiao Wuji excitedly patted Oscar and said, hey, let me tell you, little Oscar, you should have been exempted a long time ago. Xiao Wu, you should testify by the side. He said he would exempt me. Whoever regrets it will. My wife is out of the wall. Oscar thought speechlessly. Nimmer, this old Xiao is too ruthless. Hehe, but I said that after I gave the little black snake to me, I gave you free meal money, so don't blame me before you give it to me. Besides, Xiao Wu is mine, so how can she testify for you? After eating and drinking this time, they lay down again, and Oscar still fell asleep peacefully with Xiao Wu in his arms. And beside the two of them, there were two Xiao Walqi and Xiao Kailin who swept away the hunger and became themselves. The two of them didn't know each other because of Oscar's relationship. The two of them were eating so much oil. In fact, the two of them also wanted to rest. They tossed each other all night. One was weak and the other was sore, but Oscar and Xiao Wu rested, and the two of them could only guard them and ensure their safety. The sky has gradually brightened up, and there is no dazzling sunlight now, but the entire hunting soul forest is indeed full of vigor. The cry of Aha broke the silence of the hunting soul forest. This cry was too familiar to Oscar and the others, because it was the cry of the green curly-haired screaming chicken. Of course, this rather long name was given by Oscar, who originally called it emerald chicken. The crowing of the emerald chicken is really suitable as an early morning alarm. Oscar and Xiao Wu, who are sleeping soundly, are also awakened by this piercing cry. Oscar gently kissed Xiao Wu's cheek and said to her, "Good morning, Xiao Wu." Xiao Wu blushed slightly and stuck out her playful tongue and smiled. He, big brother, good morning. At this moment, Oscar reached out and put Xiao Wu's hand on his chest and asked her sweetly, "Xiao Wu, what sound do you hear?" Xiao Wu smiled and replied, "Xiao Wu knows, Xiao Wu knows. This cry is the crowing sound of a green curly-haired screaming emerald rooster." Oscar shook his head and said to her gently, "No, this is the voice of Big Brother's heartbeat for Xiao Wu, begging for a recommendation ticket." End of this chapter. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 49, Beast Pet Space. After Xiao Wu heard the love words from Oscar, her pink face flushed slightly. She covered her flushed little face with her little hands, quickly turned around and said coquettishly, "Oh big brother, you're going to die of embarrassment, Xiao Wu." Ahem. Xiao Walqi coughed from the side. Oscar and Xiao Wu tidied each other's wrinkled clothes and came in front of Xiao Walqi. But after they saw Xiao Walqi's face, they couldn't help laughing out loud. PFFT ha 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 ha. Hehe, Uncle Fat, your dark circles are really too heavy. Xiao Wu smiled while covering her small mouth. Oscar also laughed and said, "Ha ha ha, Uncle Chubby, you look a bit like a Dali King Kong panda." It's no wonder they laughed out loud. Xiao Walqi's appearance is indeed a bit haggard now. His eyes have big dark circles, and he looks pitch black. Moreover, his figure is already very strong, and his height is not too high. Coupled with his haggard appearance now, he gives people the feeling of being silly and clumsy, especially like a giant panda. His original martial spirit is the vigorous King Kong bear, so Oscar's description of him as the vigorous King Kong panda is really too appropriate. But Xiao Walqi asked curiously, "Digital King Kong panda? Why do you want to add a cat?" Oscar shook his head and said, "It's not important. What's important is how did you get the dark circles under your eyes, Uncle Chubby?" Xiao Walqi hastily wiped his eyes with his hands and said while rubbing, "Well, I had a good time with Xiao Kailin last night, and then I didn't sleep all night, and the meat you roasted was eaten by both of us. And then I tried it myself." Oscar said speechlessly, Smoked? Smoked macup?" Xiao Wuji pointed to his face and said, "It's not important. The important thing is whether my face is clean or not." He. Fat uncle has become a big tabby cat. Xiao Wu's melodious and sweet voice sounded again. Zayowalki hastily took out a big bucket of water from the little black snake's belt and began to wash it. He didn't want to be laughed at by Oscar and Xiaowu again. Little Kaylin, thank you for your hard work, Oscar said as he stroked Xiao Kaylin who was crawling beside him. Ow, Xiao Kaylin called out as she rubbed against Oscar affectionately. Oscar felt a headache when he heard little Kaylin's cry. He had become so cute. Why was he still screaming so rough? Oscar asked tentatively. Little Kaylin, can you use a softer voice? Master, I'm little Kaylin. Can you hear me? A sister-use voice sounded in Oscar's mind. Oscar's peach blossom eyes widened. He looked at Xiao Kaylin suspiciously and said in his heart, Little Kaylin, can you communicate with me in your heart? Little Kaylin Yuji's voice sounded again. Yes master, last night when I promised you to be a beast pet, I felt that I could communicate with the master. It's just that I was afraid that I would be scared if I suddenly communicated with the master last night. Master, that's why I didn't contact the master. Oscar was relieved. It seems that it was because of the system that Xiao Kaylin was able to communicate with me. He nodded and said secretly, well, this is very good. Then you don't need to change your voice. I like your voice very much. You get into my clothes first, and I will send you to the beast pet space. Okay, master. After all, little Kaylin slipped into Oscar's sleeve. The moment it entered, Oscar sent it to the beast pet space. Oscar was really exhausted last night. After he used his first soul ability, Dragon Pattern, Sky Shaking Slap, his body seemed to be hollowed out, and he felt a little lackluster. Later, he didn't even have time to check the introduction of the task rewards, so he fell asleep. Xiaowu took Oscar's hand and said, Big brother, let's go wash it too. Xiaowu's face is dirty. Oscar squeezed Xiaowu's chubby face with his hands and said, okay, big brother takes the little cat to wash his face. HMPH Xiaowu is not a little cat. Xiaowu pouted her mouth and pretended to be angry. Oscar patted Xiaowu's head and said mischievously, yes, Xiaowu is not a little cat. Xiaowu is a little flower bunny. HMPH my little flower bunny is going to bite big brother your big carrot right now. Xiaowu opened her mouth and grabbed Oscar's arm and was about to bite it off. Seeing that Oscar didn't resist, Xiaowu raised her head and said with a smile, hehe, Xiaowu is reluctant to bite big brother. They came to the big bucket that Zayowalki took out, and when they saw the water in the bucket, they gave up the idea of cleaning because the water in the whole big bucket was dyed black by Zayowalki. Oscar asked Zayowalki, who was cleaning up, Uncle Chubby, do you still have water? Yes. I just keep it for you guys. Zayowalki said, pointing to the big black bucket of water. Oscar shouted angrily, I said, is there any cleaner water? Yes. Zayowalki quickly took out another bucket of water. Oscar wiped Xiaowu's face affectionately and meticulously, but he himself resolved the battle with Pua. After washing her face, Xiaowu came to Xiaowu's side and asked him curiously, Uncle Chubby, why is there a soul beast as powerful as Xiao Kaylin in this hunting soul forest? Didn't you say that the hunting soul forest is a place to raise low-level spirit beasts? Xiaowu's question caught Xiaowu's attention. How could he know why there is a soul beast of similar strength in the hunting soul forest? Originally, I took the two of them on a tour, but whoever thought about it almost overturned the car. But now he has to answer Xiaowu's question, because as a teacher, he has to solve the questions answered by the students, and the most important thing is that he can't talk nonsense. He fell into deep thought and suddenly had a flash of inspiration and replied, because little Kaylin has been hiding her strength, the hunting forest does not allow 10,000-year soul beasts to exist. Although it is only a 1,000-year soul beast, its strength but it can be compared to the 10,000-year spirit beast. If it doesn't hide its strength, then it will be obliterated and become someone else's spirit ring. Oh. Xiaowu understands. Then why does it have horns on its head? Xiaowu continued to ask, blinking her big eyes. When Zayowalki was explaining to Xiaowu, Oscar also took the time to wash it, while communicating with the god of cookery system in his heart, checking the rewards he got for completing the task before. Beast pet space. Also animals can be accepted as pets. Beast position. 2. Can be increased. Increase method. To be activated. Attribute introduction. After the host's beast pet enters the beast pet space, the beast pet's cultivation speed is now 10 times that of Douluo continent. After entering the animal pet space, the host's pet can recover from its own injuries. As long as it is not dead, it can be restored to its original state. The recovery time depends on the severity of the pet's injury. Little brother, young lady, ask for a recommendation ticket. End of this chapter. Chapter 50. I'm Dali King Kong Panda. After seeing the information about the animal pet space, Oscar felt extremely happy in his heart because his animal pet space unexpectedly had 2 positions. In other words, he could still accept a soul beast as powerful as Xiao Kailin as a pet. But he also knew that this was nothing more than his flirting. As Xiao Walqi said, it is not an easy matter to accept a soul beast as a pet. This soul beast is like a kitten raised in a previous life. No matter how rich or powerful you are, it will look down on you and especially despise you. So if he wants to accept another powerful animal pet, it will definitely be as difficult as climbing the sky. How could he meet a greedy snake as powerful as Xiao Kailin again? Although Oscar was very happy with the 2 pet positions, what made him even more delighted was that this pet space could actually increase the speed of cultivation and recover from injuries. In other words, Xiao Kailin could quickly recover from her injuries in the animal pet space, which made him ecstatic. Oscar was worrying about how to treat Xiao Kailin's injury. Now his kitchen utensil spirit ability only has the function of increasing the spirit power, and his big sausage spirit has no soul ring attached yet, let alone soul skills, so it's really hard for him to heal Xiao Kailin himself. Too difficult. If he begs other people, it will definitely reveal that he has a pet. Of course, the fewer people know about his pet, the better, because only in this way can he be regarded as his trump card. So he was really troubled by Xiao Kailin's injury before. Now the animal pet space can not only increase the speed of cultivation, but also automatically recover blood, which is really great. Oscar's inner communication system asked, "System, how long will it take for Xiao Kailin to recover from her injury?" Ding. Your beast pet no. Little Kailin still needs a day to recover from his injuries. 1 day. So soon? Oscar asked inwardly. Ding. Host, your beast pet no. Little K has rough skin and thick flesh. Its injuries are not serious, so it only takes a day to recover from its injuries. Not heavy? Even the corners were interrupted by Xiao Walqi. Not heavy? Oscar asked questioningly. Ding. The horn on its head was broken by itself, and it can grow back quickly. Listening to the systematic explanation, Oscar immediately understood that the little Kailin purposely broke off its own horn and then knocked Xiao Wuji into the air. It did so that it could eat barbecue. This little Kailin is still very smart. At this moment, a beautiful palm suddenly appeared in his sight, and this palm dangled in front of his eyes. Big brother? Big brother? Big brother, are you thinking about Xiao Wu? Xiao Wu's melodious voice sounded. When Oscar heard Xiao Wu calling him, he quickly withdrew from his thoughts and said softly to Xiao Wu, "Yes, Big brother is thinking when Xiao Wu can give Big brother another long-lasting fragrance." Xiao Wu laughed mischievously and said, "He, Big brother is waiting for the evening. Let's go quickly. Uncle Chubby is waiting for us in front." Xiao Wu took Oscar's hand and chased after Xiao Walqi in front. When they were about to catch up with Xiao Walqi suddenly turned his head and made a fierce expression, scaring them. "I'm Dali King Kong Panda. I will eat you." Oh. Looking at the expressionless Oscar and Xiao Wuji felt a little embarrassed. He scratched the back of his head and said awkwardly, "Ahem, why don't you laugh?" Hehehe. Oscar and Xiao Wu smiled perfunctorily. Xiao Walqi had a very strong feeling that these 2 children were perfunctory to him. He hurriedly said seriously, "I'm not trying to scare you. Time is life in the hunting soul forest. Fortunately, there are no spirit beasts around here. Otherwise, I will definitely take you away. Remember to gather quickly next time." "Yeah." Oscar and Xiao Wu nodded. Xiao Walqi said in front with his hands behind his back, "Let's go. Let's go back quickly." When they walked out of the hunting forest, there was no guard intercepting them. Because the 3 of them were wearing black tights when they entered. They wore black cloaks when they went in, and black cloaks When they came out, the guards had already changed positions. Although the captain of the guard felt that their team was strange, he didn't care about them. Because entering the hunting soul forest was strange. There were too many people coming in and out, not to mention those who came out wearing black cloaks, even those who came out without clothes. Of course, those people who don't wear clothes do not have any eccentricities, but because they were bitten by spirit beasts in the forest. To accurately describe them, they should be called soul hunters. After Oscar and the others walked out of the hunting forest, they arrived at the bustling town at the gate. Oscar and the others came directly to the end of the town, where there were rows of carriages waiting for passengers. And those grooms are also competing with each other for pedestrians who want to ride, and those who don't. Oscar didn't leave here. He pointed to the carriage over there with his little finger, and said to Xiao Wuji, Uncle Chubby, Xiao Wu and I want to go back in the carriage. Yes, big brother and I are going to take a big carriage. Xiao Wu also pinched her waist, and said puffed up. Just at this moment, a groom saw them. He rushed to them with special eyesight, and asked with a playful smile, 3 adults, do you want to take a car? Because most of the people in Hunting Soul Town are soul masters, it is most appropriate to call them adults, and it can better avoid unnecessary troubles. But the groom didn't know that, although he was a clever ghost, his cleverness was wrong. Xiao Wuji raised his eyebrows, and gave the groom a hard look. But because Xiao Walqi was wearing a black cloak, the groom couldn't see his face at all, let alone his eyes. The groom looked forward to the strangely dressed person in front of him, but he had been waiting for a minute, and the person ignored him. He thought that his adjective might be wrong, so he asked again tentatively, 3 ladies, do you want to take a car? Xiao Wuji roared unwillingly, you are the young lady, your whole family are all young ladies, call me uncle. Yes, sir, do you take the car? The groom hurriedly asked in a low voice. Xiao Walqi said indifferently, don't sit down. After the groom heard this, he straightened up immediately, and said in disgust, Card you don't take the car, you didn't tell me earlier, what kind of uncle are you pretending to be, tui poor. Xiao Walqi was smoked by this groom's 7 orifices. This little groom actually said that he is poor, although he is poor, but he is absolutely not allowed to be described as poor. Xiao Wuji angrily pointed his finger at the groom's nose and said, you say you are poor? Today, I will tell you what a local tyrant is. Tell me, how much is your carriage? I bought it. Ask for a recommendation ticket. End of this chapter. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.